Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023 and as amended as of March 28, 2025, this meeting will be conducted in person and as a courtesy via remote means in accordance with applicable law. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation is being provided as a courtesy to the public and board members, the meeting/hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless required by law. This meeting will be recorded by the local scene, formerly known as pac-tv. Members of the public who wish to watch the meeting may do so by viewing the Duxbury Government Access channels Verizon 39 or Comcast 9. Viewers can visit the localscene.media/Duxbury for information about Duxbury programming, including streaming and watching replays on Duxbury YouTube. I am calling the Monday, August 3rd, 2026 meeting of the Select Board to order. First item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item is open forum. I'll start with the board. Anything tonight, Mike?
No, thank you.
Brian, anything under open forum tonight?
I do a few things. Can you hear me okay?
We can. Hi.
Great. Hi there. So first, I want to acknowledge on Friday, the 24th, the town hosted a visit by the Speaker of the British House of Commons, Sir Lindsay Hoyle. Amy, you and I were there. We were able to attend. My sincere thanks to our town historian, Tony Kelso, for leading a very informative and engaging tour of the Miles Standish gravesite and the monument. Thanks also to Angela Sinnott and Chris Coakley at the center for hosting meeting space ahead of the tour so that the British delegation can meet privately with Congressman Keating. And I think I see Matthew in the front row there. The Clipper did a terrific job covering the event and wrote a nice piece. Second, just wanted to thank everyone who attended the Mass DOT presentation on Wednesday regarding the Powder Point Bridge. There was a great deal of information that was shared, and this board has much to think about as we consider our best way forward. Finally, on Saturday, I was honored to represent the Select Board at the 126th annual meeting of the Aldrin Kindred to present a proclamation congratulating the organization for the construction and opening of its new Center for Living History. And I wanted to share with the board that Kindred sincerely appreciated the town's recognition. That's all I got. Thanks.
Thanks, Brian. And Cindy, are you on?
She's just watching.
She's just watching. She's not going to participate.
No, she's in recovery.
Okay.
Amy, I don't think your mic's working.
It doesn't project out to the audience. It's only for the at-home viewers. So the microphones, both at the podium and up here, are not to project our voices. We're expected to be able to do that on our own. They're only for the benefit of the people at home so they can hear us. Okay. Members of the public, open forum. Mr. Baldwin.
John Baldwin, 110 High Street. I'm here tonight to ask to be on the agenda for the next Select Board meeting in regards to the property that Susan and I own on North Street. We have 4 building permits that abut the old public way off of North Street. We also have permits and sign-offs from the Board of Health, the Planning Board, Water Superintendent, Conservation, the Fire Department, Highway Department, and the Tree Warden. The Director of Public Works is the only department that has not signed off. We need an open road permit to install a water main, which we've applied for, in the old public way in the road that needs to be paved. We have provided numerous engineered road and utility plans to the DPW Building Department and the Water Department. This has been going on with the DPW since last September. We have a comprehensive 40B permit from the Zoning Board of Appeals to build 14 houses on the same property. We only want to build 4 houses instead, and we discovered, after we got the comprehensive permit, that the old road was a public way laid out and accepted at town meeting in 1812 and certified by the town clerk, Susan Kelly. So if we can get a time, that would be great.
Thank you, Mr. Baldwin.
Thank you.
Anyone else under open forum this evening? Ms. Babcock?
Hi, Alicia Babcock, Ocean Road South. I think you remember at town meeting, I made a plea to continue with the Duxbury Beach Committee, and town meeting voted that they also wanted to keep the committee and not disband it. After that, probably around the beginning of June, Rainey had approached me to discuss that, and I told him that I would think about going forward with that. I had contacted the town moderator to see if we could begin the process, and I went back and did a little bit more research, and the committee that was actually responsible for the bridge repair when the wraps were being done, it was actually not the Duxbury Beach Committee that was responsible for making those decisions. There was actually a specific committee appointed just to examine that and come up with repair options. So I don't want to blame that committee for making those mistakes. And again, it is something that is in the bylaws. It's an important committee. I think it's more important now than ever. And I would like to request that the select board take some action on this. It's been 5 months, and I really think that it's something that should be up and running. And then the second thing that I have is I just wanted to say that I was very disappointed that the meeting on Wednesday was not recorded and televised for the public. I think it's a really important thing. I don't understand why it wasn't. The date for the 29th for the DOT presentation was in place since Tingley's presentation on June 15th, so there was ample time. I don't know what happened, but in the effort for full transparency for all of these discussions, I think it was really an opportunity missed. So thanks very much.
I'll respond to that. We tried. pac-tv, who was covering it, didn't have the staff to do it. We don't run the equipment over there. pac-tv runs it for us. And we reached out to them well in advance, and they weren't able to provide us with the service.
Yeah, okay.
So there's no recording of that meeting at all?
No, but there is a presentation on the DOT's website, which is actually the exact same thing that Marco's talking about it. He presents it in a different format. It's just not from that night. So you can see the whole presentation on their website.
You can see their presentation, but what you can't see is the question
Q&A.
and answers.
Right, it wasn't done here. It was done offsite.
It wasn't done off, I'm sorry, I'm not
It was
understanding.
It wasn't recorded here.
What's on the DOT thing?
Yeah, it was recorded, the DOT recorded it separate and independent
Right.
of that night.
Right, okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. Maureen Caruso, Winthrop Ave. I first want to address that since last year, I have been requesting public records on how our bridge got on the tip list. And to my surprise, I cannot process that even from the Duxbury Free Library, a FOIA request. So it appears that there's some kind of a technical problem requesting these records. But I have been a year in the process of requesting this information, and I don't know, other than Mr. Reed, who knows how we got to that point and if proper procedure was followed, because it seems as though Miss Sheila Lynch Benton made it clear last Wednesday that the public has only known about the project for 2 years, but in fact it has been several years in the making. So my first question is to the board, when was this put on the tip list? Because getting that public record information has been delayed.
All of that information was provided to you under separate requests.
I'm sorry, it was not.
It wasn't?
No.
I'll have to look back. Yeah, it was
Or I wouldn't
2021.
be here asking about it, and it's been over a year that I've been waiting for this information. So Amy, Mike, Brian, who knows when this went to
January of 2021.
2021?
It's on the DOT
And
website.
so the public was kept in the dark about this until 2 years ago.
I wouldn't say that they were kept in the dark
2021.
anymore.
It's
We only just
2026.
learned about it 2 years, and I'm not here to argue, but I think
Yeah.
that Sheila Lynch Benton said it very eloquently Wednesday, that we only began to wake up to this project information, and
I
the
think-
community was not made aware.
I don't want to get into a back and forth because open forum doesn't
Right.
allow us to do that, but we
Right.
do have later in our meeting tonight an agenda item that would allow us to talk about the bridge generally. So I think that this kind of question could be discussed during that time. I think that there may have been a misspeak during that presentation because 2021 is not 10 years ago.
Right.
So just, again, if you don't mind holding off, I'm
No,
not
not at
trying to
all.
shut you off. I just
I do
want
have
to
one
follow
more
procedure.
remark, though, that Brian Glennon last year had asked, what was our solution to this obvious love of the bridge and the pending demolition? And we now have that information with Dr. Dan Tingley's beautiful assessment that he made back in April and then presented in June. So I guess my question is, what is the board, are you prepared to pause this project now so that we can look at all these alternatives and the impact to the environment?
Again, we can't
deliberate.
respond
It's not
during
that I'm
this.
being rude.
Yeah, we simply cannot, under the open forum rules. We're here to listen and take in a comment or a request for a
Well, I
future
appreciate
agenda
that.
item.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else under open forum? Hearing and seeing nothing, nobody on the screen. I'll jump into our first new business, was a public, are we jumping right in? When do we do the water? Okay, first is a liquor license transfer from Red's Emporium LLC to Duckfield LLC. Do you mind acting as clerk?
It would be my pleasure. Thank you.
Do you need,
Yep.
gonna need packet stuff.
You need that.
Throw my clerk hat.
Okay, and here to present this transfer,
I have to open it.
oh, yep, please open the public hearing, sir.
I move that the Select Board open the public hearing regarding a transfer of liquor license application from Red's Emporium to Duxfield Market and Gelateria. Gelateria. All right. We need a roll call vote.
We do, first you need a second, so I guess I'll second.
Second.
Oh,
Oh,
okay, thank you, Brian. Roll call vote, I'll start with you, Brian.
Thanks. Brian, aye.
Michael, I.
Amy, aye. Okay.
All right.
And is there someone here to present this? Hold on, I got it here.
Okay.
You're a faster reader than I am. So Francesco, good evening, sir.
Hello, good evening. So basically, we're just trying to, we're gonna maintain this same business that is currently there. We're just gonna offer some Italian gelato instead of ice cream. It's all over the county, basically. And that's the only basically difference that's gonna be. Most of the current business gonna be the same, pretty much. We're just gonna reduce a little bit of the wine space to make a hand scoop Italian gelato.
I'm a big gelato fan, so. Okay,
Well, we love Reds, so.
There you
we
go,
hope
we
can
do.
Keep the business going along there, too.
Yeah,
That's,
we're gonna keep the same sandwiches and everything else.
you can get your favorite balsamic at the same time you get a little scoop of gelato. I love it. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Questions? Brian, do you have any questions?
No, the application is pretty straightforward. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Any questions from the public or comments? Hearing none, I will take a motion.
I move that the Select Board, as the local licensing authority, approves the application for a transfer of license from Red's Emporium LLC, doing business as the Red's Emporium, the owner-manager, Daniel Lane, to Duxfield LLC, doing business as Duxfield Market and Gelateria. New manager, Francesco Giante. Off-premise wine and malt package store number 00038-PK-0300, located at 1514 Tremont Street, as presented, along with related common victular license and subject to all requirements of the Board of Health, Municipal Services, and the ABCC, the Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll take a roll call. Brian?
Brian, aye.
Michael, aye.
Amy, aye. You're good to go. Thank you. I
I
look
move.
forward to a gelato.
Good luck. All right. I move that the Select Board close the public hearing.
Can I get
Second.
any discussion? I'll take a roll call. Brian?
Brian, aye.
Michael, aye.
Amy, aye. Okay. We have another fee hearing for some fees at the cemetery department. And first, we have to open our public hearing, so give me 1 second. Do you need that?
I do.
I'm going to try to
Thank
find
you,
it.
sir.
Here it is.
All right. I move that the Select Board open the public hearing regarding the proposed fee changes for the cemetery department.
Second.
Roll call vote. Brian?
Brian, aye.
Michael, aye.
Amy, aye. Okay, we're open. So we're going to have a presentation from
Chip Locetti.
Chip. Hi, Chip.
Hello,
How are you?
good, how are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So fees, why don't you jump right in?
Sure, okay, Chip Luckett, Superintendent of Cemeteries. The cemetery department is proposing a $25 fee increase for a traditional cremation and a $50 fee increase for a wooden casket. The last time we raised crematory fees was FY '24. These fees increases are needed just the times. Everything has gone up. My crematory software alone went up 133%. Cost of urns went up. Matter of everything going up. So I had to juggle what's going up between our competition and make sure I was within the range I need to be competitive with all the other crematories still.
And are we going, is that still a competitive, where's Plymouth at? Are they around the same?
Plymouth is, I think they're $15 more than us.
More once we, if these increases are
Yes.
approved, or, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Question?
No, I recall the 2024 increase, and you did discuss all the competitive rates, and I feel comfortable with this,
I
trust
do
your.
feel like that was just yesterday. I can't
I
believe
know.
that was
That was last year.
2024.
I feel like I'm
right?
up here every year.
Unbelievable. Time goes by in a blink.
All right.
Okay, Brian, some questions?
Thanks, Amy. And Chip, thanks very much for approaching this issue. I know it can be sort of difficult to do. You had mentioned Plymouth. Who do we consider our competitors, so to speak, to be, and where do they stand in their fees? I know you mentioned Plymouth is going to be about $15 more if we implement this fee, but who else, like St. Michael's in Boston, or who else is our competitor?
So you have Blue Hill and Braintree. I'm not sure if I heard rumors that they raised their fee. I wasn't able to get that rate. Blue Hills just went up, so we'll be a little under them, which is good because we do have funeral homes from Boston that do come to us. And they come
All right,
to
and-
us. They come to us actually because of our fees a little less than Boston. So we get a lot of their customers from the Cape. They bring to us.
And do our fees cover the cost of providing the service?
Yes, it does.
Thanks.
I would hope that it more than covered it. Okay. Any other questions?
I don't.
Any
Thank you.
questions from the public? Anything else to add? Hearing none, I'll take a motion.
I move that the Select Board approve the recommended and/or fee changes for the cemetery department effective August 4th, 2026, as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, Brian?
Brian, aye.
Michael, aye.
Amy, aye. Thank you.
Thank you, have a good night.
You too.
I move that the Select Board close the public hearing regarding proposed fee charges for the cemetery department.
Second.
I'll take a roll call vote. Brian?
Brian, aye.
Michael, aye.
Amy, aye. Okay. Next, we have a discussion and vote pertaining to an intermunicipal agreement between the town of Marshfield and the town of Duxbury.
If I may, Madam Chair.
Yes, please.
Patrick Brennan, the project engineer, is here for this, and I'll give you a little bit of a prequel. The Seawall project engineer, Pat Brennan, has offered the following information. The attached intermunicipal agreement, IMA, is being presented this evening because the town of Duxbury had Northern Construction under contract for the seawall construction, and since the physical seawall is continuous across the town line from Duxbury into Marshfield to the Bay Avenue beach access ramp, it made sense to continue the seawall construction to the access ramp. Because of this, the engineer approached Marshfield to ask if it wanted to replace the last 50 feet of seawall in Marshfield from the Bay Avenue ramp to the town line. The reason for doing the Marshfield section of seawall continuous with the Duxbury portion was that there would not be a weak link at the town line. The IMA allowed the work to be done in Marshfield under Duxbury's contract with Northern. This saved money for both towns since Marshfield did not have to put the project out to bid, and Duxbury saved the cost of cutting the seawall at the town line. With the IMA in place, Marshfield can pay Northern Construction directly for the work that was done in Marshfield. The IMA was reviewed by Town Council and has been signed by the members of the Marshfield Select Board. And Mr. Brennan is here to answer any questions that you may have.
I have a question, but
Go
I'll
ahead,
start
yeah.
with you. Well, you want me to start?
No, I don't. I'm thinking. Go ahead.
I can ask. Just with the betterment piece of this, and the betterments being assessed on a definitive amount, was the amount that Marshfield is paying Northern deducted out of that amount so that betterments weren't assessed on that portion of the price? You know what I mean?
I'll
So
ask that
the
again.
betterment, so the people along that area of the seawall are asked to pay a percentage of the total cost of the project. Was this amount that Marshfield's paying for deducted from that total amount before the betterment was assessed?
I believe so. Wasn't it, Pat?
Yes, sir. Excuse me. Yeah, Pat Brennan. Yes, the Marshfield portion was not included in any of the Duxbury costs, whether betterment or otherwise.
Okay, thank you. Fernando, questions?
I've just come in, but
I know.
it sounds like a good deal
For who, us or them?
for everybody, right?
Both.
Both.
Yeah, so what happened was,
Yeah.
as Rainey read, you know, we had Northern under contract to do the construction of the wall in Duxbury. Members of the Seawall Committee, as well as DPW Director, myself, and I approached Marshfield Town Engineer at the time, said, you know, it really makes sense to do this last 50 feet of wall to the Bay Access beach ramp. Because if we don't, a storm's going to take that 50-foot section down, and then water's going to get in behind. You know, it was going to keep a weak link in place.
Right.
So Marshfield, at the time, and this was going back a year and a half now, the Board of Public Works in Marshfield approved Marshfield moving forward with that part of the project. The intermunicipal agreement has been kind of in limbo for so long because of all the turmoil in Marshfield with their select board, town administrator, and everything else. So we finally got them to sign back in June, I believe, and now it's before you to sign so that Northern can get paid that last final payment from Marshfield.
Okay.
I get it. Brian, any questions for Pat or
Yeah,
anyone?
just a question on the document itself. Under the term, Pat, paragraph 5, it seems to be looking like a completion date of December 2025. Is that right, or is that just a typo?
No, the actual wall construction was completed back then, and, again, the reason why this is in front of you at this point is just because Marshfield took so long to actually execute the document to get the, to make it so that they were legally able to pay their portion of the project.
Okay, I asked just because since Marshfield has gone through this process and our select board's going through it now, I just don't want there to be an impediment moving forward with somebody saying, well, the term expired a year ago, December. I'm happy to offer an amendment if we think we need that. Just something that caught my eye that, I understand it's taken a long time, but I don't know if there's any issue based upon who's going to work with this contract of a term date that's expired almost a year ago.
Yeah, we were told by the Marshfield Town Accountant that as soon as your board signs this document, they're going to release the payment to Marshfield. So then it's only in place really until that payment's paid.
2 questions.
Yep, go ahead, Mike.
Who owns the wall in Marshfield? I know we have an easement here.
That's difficult to say. Marshfield takes a different approach with their seawall projects. So the town paid for that portion, and there aren't betterments for the people behind the wall there.
I meant as far as the easements and, because
Yeah,
we have other issues.
What they do is they do right of entries instead of easements. So they do a right of entry with the property owners. The property owners sign off on it, which allows the contractor to go in there, do the work. And I'm not sure what happens with that right of entry after the work is done. I assume it expires, but that's the way that they handle it.
Is there a property that straddles both? Is there a property that's on both?
No, the town line is pretty much between 2 properties right there.
Okay.
Questions, Fernando? You good?
No questions.
Anything else, Brian? Any questions?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Any questions from members of the public? Anybody online? Hearing nothing, I'll take a motion.
Who's doing the motions?
I have, thank you. I move that the Select Board sign the intermunicipal agreement between the Town of Marshfield and the Town of Duxbury as presented.
Second.
Second.
A couple of seconds. We're off
We're off to
now.
the races now.
Brian, I'll start with you.
Brian, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Amy, aye.
Michael, aye.
Okay, Fernando, you're a typical, you want to, oh no, you're the vice, so we'll keep Mike as clerk tonight.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
You can handle it.
He's doing a great
moved
job.
up.
He's
Great
doing I can
job.
already tell he's doing a great job.
Great job.
Thank you.
I delegate the seconding to Fernando.
Yeah.
Oh, that was sneaky.
Thanks, Brian. And you can keep, yeah, you don't have to keep pressing the mute button.
We're moving here.
Were we in a public hearing?
Water abatements, we have to get into that. May I have, all right, thank you. I think we have to,
We have Mr. Cloud?
You have Mr. Gage.
Oh,
Oh,
never met
I
Mr. Gage.
move
Oh, right.
that the Select Board adjourn the meeting in order to meet as the Water and Sewer Commissioners with the intent of reconvening as the Select Board afterwards.
second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote. Brian?
Brian, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Amy, aye.
Michael, aye.
Okay.
All right, we
Tonight-
have, yeah, go ahead.
We are continuing our discussion regarding some abatements. One abatement, we requested some additional information and some additional time to look at this information. So, Mr. Gage, welcome.
Thank you.
I haven't met you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Gage.
Thank you, appreciate it.
And, yeah, so if you could kind of walk us through, the notes that we had received last time did not recommend an abatement on this because of a history of high usage. And we have received some additional information from both the water department and the property owner. So if you could speak to this and try to help us out, I think that would be great.
Sure. Assistant Superintendent for the Water and Sewer Department, Dan Gage. So we couldn't recommend an abatement. Let's go into a little backstory about how the meters work. So there's a meter head and a meter body. The water physically passes through the body, and it spins a disc inside of the meter. It can only go one way, and something has to physically move it. So that's how we know that water is passed through. The head will send us what the reading is. So on this property, we don't see any indication there's an issue with the radio head, and we don't see any issue with the meter of the body itself. So the water did physically pass through the meter. They can really only slow down. There's no way for the meter to speed up and just continuously flow through. Something has to pass through the meter to make it spin. So if we look back to 10, 13, 23, we can see there was a 0 use period there, and that's what triggered the initial replacement.
Yep.
From there, we can see that the high usages begin. The chart I show you, there's another replacement. The 130 after that includes water that was taken off the meter that was replaced, just for clarity. But if you can see the first high bill, 226,000 gallons, but then it drops back down to 39,000 gallons, is a pretty good indication that the meter that's spinning inside is not just freely spinning because it came back down. So the water did, in fact, pass through the meter. At that point, it's the homeowner's responsibility once it goes through the meter there. So if we had a reason for where the water went from that point, or if we had some indication of a leak or something, we could do an abatement. But we just don't see any reason. We don't know where the water went other than it entered the home.
Okay.
Question, that's 226,000 gallons. I mean,
Correct.
in a period of how many months is that?
That is from March of 2024 to November
November.
of 2024.
And then what's normal usage of,
Really, it's very tough to pin down normal usage. It varies quite a bit.
Right.
Depends on irrigation. Some people use more water, some people use less.
No, I understand that, but
What's the average normal?
what's the average? What's the kind of normal with their, basically during the winter?
For no irrigation, I expect 10 to 40,000 gallons, somewhere in that range, if it's just
a
household
month.
usage, depending on the amount of people in the house.
All right. So 39,000 for between 11 November and March, right? April, yeah.
April there, yeah.
April there. That's more that what you normally see,
would say that's-
39,000 gallons.
Yeah, I would say that for a quarter, that's pretty typical usage.
Right.
So,
So basically, it spins for between March and November, and then comes back down again.
Yeah, so there's definitely water getting through the meter at a very high rate. That I can't speak to where the water's going past the meter. I can say that it went through the meter. I wish we'd examined the meter more thoroughly, we could have gotten data inquiry off the meter. It's gone now, unfortunately. It's been recycled. But if we got a data inquiry, we could have told at what increments the water was going through and at what times to give a better indication of where the water was going. To me, that indicates an irrigation leak. I don't know. I can't speak to what's going on at their property.
Right.
That's typically if I see a number like that, what I would assume.
And then basically in November, right? You have another high peak.
Yeah,
Is that what drove then to replace the meter?
So that was when they were contacted about the high meter, and then someone went out and replaced the meter thinking that was the issue.
Right.
We've already talked to our guys about if there's ever a discrepancy in billing, we need to leave the meters in the future so we
Right.
can figure out what's really going on the property. So
go ahead, Mike.
So I'm just trying to follow along chronologically here.
Sure.
And there's this certainly high bill in November of 2025. You have August, September, fairly hot times of year. What I'm trying to understand is this January reading. So it was read in October and then in January. Is there any indication of what could have been going on there over those 2 months where it really doesn't require any irrigation
No, so
or?
I can the 130,000 gallons there, the one right after the replacement.
Yeah.
So I can tell you that most of that usage did come off of the old meter. So it was prior to when the meter was replaced in December. So of that usage, 127,000 gallons was on the older meter that was replaced.
Okay. And then was that deducted from the bill?
No, because it's just, the chart is set up by the billing date.
Okay.
So that's when that water was issued on the bill was for that period there.
Wait. So you're trying to tell me 100, of that 130, 127 gallons should be added to the 364,000 gallons?
No, so when there's a replacement done partway through a quarter,
Okay.
we'll get the reading off the old meter and combine that with what we pick up on the new meter, and that's the full quarter reading. So of that, 127,000 came off the old meter when it was replaced.
I have a question.
Sure.
Brian, do you have a question before I jump in?
No, not yet. I will have some, but not yet.
Okay. So when the last time we were looking at this, we were trying to understand, how this amount of water could be used. And we asked questions of the property owners that are here as to if there was anything extraordinary about this property. Is there a swimming pool? Is there, excessive gardens that require irrigation? And we heard none. But I believe that there are 2 dwellings on this property. Are there not?
There are 2 meters on the location. They are
So-
2 separate meters, though, and that has very low standard usage. So this is definitely, there are 2 different accounts in our system. So this is all just focused on one account.
So even though there's 2 dwellings on that lot, and they're separately metered?
Correct.
I can't explain it. All right, Brian, questions?
Yeah, so I just heard, Dan, thanks for providing that information. But I heard that basically, at this point, meters can't break, or something along those lines. But last time we convened and looked at abatements, there was a gentleman who was faced with a very clearly broken meter for some time. So I'm trying to reconcile genuine use that this board bills for and doesn't abate for versus an issue with the equipment. And I realize a big part of this is adding back data from the prior meter. And I guess that's where I'm having some difficulty, because we want to do the right thing here. If the water was used, it needs to be billed, but I'm not at the point that I have an appreciation for the fact that the meter wasn't broken. That is the meter that's now been recycled and the data was taken from it. Can you help me better understand how the data or how the data was collected from the old meter, so I can have a better appreciation for the validity of it? Because that's really, I think, what's at issue.
Yeah, no, definitely. So for 54 West Street, the abatement you're referencing, there was an issue with the meter head itself. So that's the meter that communicates the data. The meter body is what actually picks up the reading, which physically has to move around. So that's a mechanical part, not a radio part. So 54 West Street, the issue there was, at some point, his current read and his previous read didn't align anymore. So that led to him getting billed for the entire usage of the meter. We can see on the account here that the meter does reset to 0 when it's replaced to the new meter in question, and it tracks as it goes along the whole time. So that's how I know there's not an issue with the radio data picking up. So the radio data we could have issues with, but the meter body itself that picks up the readings, that can really only slow down. So a meter could never run out of control.
All right, so it's not a similar issue here as
No.
we had with, okay.
Yeah, when we figured out what was wrong with 54 West Street, the first thing I did was pull this abatement up to make sure that it wasn't the same issue.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
So what is the normal, when a meter with the actual body itself, right, when that fails, what's the most common form of failure?
So the bodies themselves don't fail too often. What they do is they slow down over time. So the longer it's in there, the more stuff builds up on the disk itself, so it spins more slowly. It doesn't spin as freely. So it measures less accurately, but it loses measurement. It never gains anything. Eventually they can bind up, which is pretty uncommon. But slowly, as time goes on, the meter slows down when it runs. They don't pick up speed.
So it's basically a shaft and,
So it's a compartment with like a slanted disc, and as the water comes in, it forces that to rotate around. So over time, that can kind of gunk up the mechanism there and rotate more slowly, but it doesn't rotate more quickly.
okay. So it's up and down, and there's a shaft there that's got bearings in there or something like what? How
It's
does
called a
it?
nutating disc. So it's like a saucer that has this defined space, and as it fills, it rotates around.
Okay.
And that's how we track the water. And they can really only fail in the resident's favor. So the older a meter is, the slower it typically runs. Very, very rarely, we have a consultant we're working with for a meter upgrade program. He's never seen the body break and just freely spin. So it's extremely uncommon, which is how we know that. And then we can see also in the next quarter, the meter slows back down to 39,000 gallons. So we know that's not the case of it freely spinning inside there.
You mentioned this could be a leak in the irrigation or something like that. How do you square that with the fact that their water rates went back to a kind of average rate?
It's tough to say. It's tough to track people's water once it goes through the meter, honestly.
But if there was a leak, wouldn't it stay high?
I mean, there could have been work done on the irrigation system. It could have been shut off because we were in a water ban.
Did anybody pull a permit or anything with the town for fixing the irrigation or doing a
think they do.
backstop or anything like that?
Not that I'm aware of.
Sorry to cross-examine you.
No, it's all good.
Well, I think this is a conundrum. I think we're all
Yeah.
struggling with this because,
I would love if I had a simple, I'd love to give them the abatement. I can't explain where the water went. And so it's tough to say what the abatement would be for.
Right.
and we do rely on you and others in your department to provide us with the recommendations, and typically we've always, I think, gone along with those recommendations based on your expertise. And there's usually a fairly simple answer, the radio, or, there was some glitch, a misread, or, and in this case, there is no clear indication as to why all this water was used, but we're hearing that in your opinion, and you and your coworkers, you believe that this water was used.
I'm confident that the water passed through the meter, but that's as far as I can say really with where it is or what happened.
Okay. And so you replaced the meter because the homeowners asked you to replace the meters. Why do you replace the meters?
So that one, I'm not sure what took place there. Someone went out to look at it and replace the meter. A lot of times the guys will go out and replace the meter if they think that's the issue. But we've already discussed with them that we don't replace meters if there's any sort of bill discrepancy going forward.
Okay.
We want to be able to interrogate the meters and see what's really going on.
Do you still have the meter?
We did not. We recycled a number of meters fairly recently, and this was among them, unfortunately.
I'd be happy to hear from anybody who wants to speak on behalf of the property.
Brian, any other questions at this point?
No, not for the water department, thanks.
Okay. Would the property owners like to speak, ma'am?
So just one point that I want to make is we're talking about the date of 11/1 issue date, the time between 3/4 and 10/09, the 226 units for $1,600. We're using that as a data point to show high usage. But I want to call out that's 219 days of a billing cycle, that everything else is much lower than that. So it's not really apples to apples comparison there. The other issue is he had mentioned that then we returned to 39, so therefore that's a data point that therefore that's high usage. But we didn't return to 39, it's just a totally different usage period. So I just want to make sure that we're not basing the decision on a data point that is not apples to apples. So I just wanted to first call that out. The second thing I want to call out is we had no understanding any of this was happening. We called because we had a high water bill and we wanted help. They suggested they came out to look for a leak. They did that work and they went away and said no leak. We didn't call back. The water department called us back and said, your usage is still really high. We want to come check the meter. And so we said, great. They came, checked the meter, replaced the meter, and the usage returned to normal. That's why I'm here. I'm not here to dispute a water bill. I'm here because there was an issue on our property that we cooperated with the water department's recommendations on how to solve for it, and we're grateful that they did work with us on that. What we're just asking for is some sort of fair way to resolve this issue, because while I understand meters may, I think I don't think anyone's using the word never. It's not normal that they break. This is not a normal situation. This water usage is not normal. And if I could explain where that water went, I wouldn't be standing here. But it is very hard at the levels we're talking about. You know, if this was a $400 bill, or you probably wouldn't even see me here, but we're talking of thousands of dollars in 3 months. And so, you know, we're talking over about $4,800 in 3 months. And I just can't believe that, since we can't explain where that water went, we have some sort of meter issue because the town or the water department suggested they come change the meter. They changed the meter. They didn't offer me a test of the meter. They just didn't. I didn't even know you could test a meter. And when I finally got this discussion going, I said, well, did you test the meter? And they said, no, you would have had to pay for that. Well, I'm not a water professional. I would have absolutely taken the time to pay for that, but now there's no meter to test. So while I really appreciate all the work and energy that's going into this, I do just have to say, you know, this has been a lot of work on my part as well. And I just feel like we're at a crossroad here, because I also, you know, trust and respect the water department's experience, but this is an anomaly. And I also trust myself and my integrity in the property. So I just, you know, like you, I'm really kind of stumped on this.
Can I just, believe I just heard you reference $4,800 for 3 months. I don't
Yeah.
see that, so I'm.
It's 11/13/20, or sorry, it's 7/01 to 10/01. So that's $3,600 there, and then it's 10/01 to 12/15.
So those two combined?
Two
That's
combined.
3 months?
Yeah,
It's
maybe it's a
no.
little,
It's
it's
more
longer
than
than
3
that.
months.
It's more than 3
I apologize.
months.
5 months. And
5
so-
months.
And are those summer months?
Yeah.
How long
Did
have
you
looked-
guys get the supplemental information? Yeah.
Yes, we did, yes,
Yes,
yeah.
we've got it
We've
all.
got it, we've got it all, thank you.
So may I?
Yes,
I
please.
apologize. How long have you lived at the property?
Okay.
January of 2020.
Yeah,
Oh, January 2021.
2021.
Okay, and obviously never had an issue like this in the past.
There was a meter issue at the property, that they replaced a meter because it wasn't, I believe, triggering the meter, and you see that replacement in the back dates. When they came in 2 years later, I think her name is Pam in the water department, said that an old meter had been installed, and that's why they wanted to come back in and now move this meter, because she thought that might be the reason there was issues. But her comment was, I don't know why an old meter was then put in. But I don't know what an old meter or a new meter is, so I don't know how to interpret what she was saying there.
Just my other question, it's in here, but I would just kind of wanted the public to hear, and also for you to maybe explain your rationale for it, but what's your remedy, or what's your proposed resolution of this?
You know, honestly, I had written out kind of a calculation. What I realized in my calculation was that I didn't account for the variable of the seasonality. So I had just taken the water usage over time based on all of the invoices we have, and then I gave myself a daily water rate, and then proposed that being what we do the calculation on. And I think in that proposal, it came out to like an 800 and, let's see where I put. So I said, using the entire non-disputed account history, water consumption totaled 325 units over 710 billing days. Applying that historical average to the 188-day disputed period resulted in an estimated consumption of 86 units. So that was my proposal. However, if there's a better way to calculate that than a daily rate due to seasonality, you know, certainly open to that. I mean, at this point, I'm also, like, as painful as this is for me, I mean, I would say the very basic minimum would be to split the bill.
Madam Chair, can I just ask
Yes,
Dan
please
a
do,
question?
Brian. Yep.
Dan, I understand from the applicant that the meter was not tested. If the meter were tested, giving the applicant the benefit of the doubt, what would have been the best-case scenario in the event of a testing?
So we would probably take, create an average for that bill for that time of year and apply that bill for the period instead. Like if we found out that the meter had been spinning freely inside there and billing water that hadn't passed through, I think most likely we would try to get some kind of average of the quarter and apply that as the bill instead. But it's definitely something me and Mark would definitely discuss.
The only problem I have with all this, right, and I'm trying to figure this out, but there's no energy in the system, right? So basically, the only reason why the meter moves is, like you said, water. There's no electricity, there's no external source to make the meter spin.
It's a physical mechanism.
It's a physical mechanism, so it needs water to go through it to rotate.
Correct.
So it can't be, I'm still struggling to try to put the pieces together. So back when the second dwelling was built on that property, there must have been only one meter for a certain amount of time until occupancy took place. Was there perhaps a lawn that was involved or something that could have attributed to, I feel like we're missing something.
They're on different, they have separate water meters.
But they must not have always been during the building because it's owned by the same, they don't come right out and put a water meter.
The water's never been shared over the two
But during the actual construction of the second dwelling,
which was about 2 years ago.
could it possibly have been during this
No.
disputed time?
Definitely not. It was, the house was built. The house was built and occupied before. It's my daughter. It's, my daughter lives there. And she's been living there since the property was built. And this is outside of that time frame. And she has her own water meter.
I'm still just trying to figure this out.
Understood.
Board?
No, just I'm trying to understand this spin freely.
Well, it seems like.
How does that happen? If water goes through, and how can it spin freely?
So I'm saying that they don't break to spin freely. So when it spins, it's because water is pushing it through.
That's the only reason why the
Would
thing
it keep
spins.
going after the water?
No.
So what is that? So
It's a positive displacement, right? It's a fixed volume, right? So it only turns when it fills up the turn, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it can't, it could potentially, I can't say never, but I've never seen one break and just spin freely, which would account for the high usage on the bill.
Right.
I can't speak to that happening, especially when you look at the next quarter after a high bill and the usage has come back down to normal.
So the current bill, the current outstanding amount is $74.51.22? No? I have that on this sheet here. What is the current amount due?
The current amount due is $7,451.22.
That's what I just, 74.51.22,
That is not accurate.
okay?
That includes a bill that you haven't received in the mail yet, so that could be thrown off. Sorry about that.
Jeez. So what's,
You'll see that very soon.
Sorry.
Dan, what's the non-surprise bill? What's the amount? Is it
That one is for,
the 3,667 plus the 1,227?
no, so that one is for 48,000 gallons, and that bill is $500, $501.80.
I'm getting confused.
He's asking which bill is in dispute.
Oh, the bills in dispute are the bill that was done on 11/25 of
Yep.
$3,672.70.
Yep.
And then the bill from February 26, $1,227.40.
40 cents, okay.
You know, I get very concerned because, you know, water is a huge issue. We all know it. We're all paying dearly for it right now. We're all under severe water restrictions, and it's going to only become more and more of an issue as we move forward. And I don't ever want to be in the position of setting precedents or, and I'm uncomfortable.
I echo your comments, right? I mean, at the end of the day, Dan is our expert, and he's clearly described how the meter works and how it moves, and it only moves because water is going through it. That's what I'm hearing, and it's impossible because it's a positive displacement meter.
It's
to turn-
extremely unlikely. I can't say that it's impossible and that it's never happened, but I've never seen it, and then the usage history indicates that it did go back to normal.
Right.
For a couple of quarters. It did then spin up again, so
How long have you been in the water business?
7 years.
Just to play devil's advocate here, the obvious thing here is there's an anomaly. They replace a water meter. The water meter is no longer available to us to even see if anything's wrong with it, and everything seems to have gone back to normal. How do we square with that? I mean, these are extraordinarily high rates. They've never had this problem since they've lived in the home.
Well, they've had it twice.
But that was a longer period.
11/4/24, right? 2026, and
Right.
they must
Before
have
we
got
started
that bill.
quarterly billing.
That was, yeah, a 6-month, more than a
6
6-month
months,
billing
yeah.
period there.
But still, it goes down afterwards 39, right? So,
Right, there is a seasonal, it does seem to
Yeah.
be a seasonal impact here.
I just don't know what they were watering or filling or.
So whatever,
like you said, it's the president, right? I mean, if we're people are going to be residents going to be facing large bills, right? I mean, because yeah.
Is any of this because of the water rates going up? Let me just ask a
I
obvious
mean,
question.
the bills are becoming more expensive as the rates go up, yes.
Yeah.
right, and because they are hitting that that threshold.
Threshold, it goes up even more.
There's
Yeah.
a penalty built into
Once you get
that
over
by
60.
design. Yeah.
Once you get over $60,000 gallons, the increment increases, the charge increases substantially. So.
Brian?
Fernando's looking for any input, Brian.
Brian?
No, it's, this is a tough one because, as I said, we charge for the water that actually goes through. And I have a lot of sympathy for the homeowner
Yep.
in this case because, if I were looking at a bill of this size and knowing that I wasn't running my sprinkler or filling a pool or whatever, I'd want the town to do the right thing. I guess I'm just puzzled as to what the right thing here is because the physical evidence upon which we rely is telling us very clearly that the water was used. And I'm just trying to square the physical evidence that we have available to us in the form of the meter versus the homeowner's representation to us that that volume of water wasn't used.
Right.
And I'm also cognizant of the fact that, mistakes happen, and we try to do the right thing. But on the other hand, we're pretty careful about water bills in particular, and I'm just not quite sure what to do here. If there's a way to work with the homeowner, but does that create a precedent? When somebody else comes along and says, well, I didn't use the water either.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about how the longer terms effect, not necessarily in this particular case, because honestly, my gut here tells me something seems to have gone wrong, notwithstanding everybody's best efforts here and trying to put our finger on it. But as a decision maker, I need to rely upon the objective facts that are available to us. And right now, that seems to be supporting the bill, although I'm still scratching my head.
I agree with you. I think that,
Look, I don't I don't know how this happened. There's this huge jump in 2024 in usage. Then there's a double, for 2025, there's double the usage, which is significant here. If you folks can explain to me maybe what happened, an irrigation system went in, or something happened in 2024, well before this bill. An explanation, or even just some kind of remedy that makes some sense to us, I could do that, but right now, like, without anything to substantiate, I can't, like, and you're asking for an abatement today. So I can't understand, what I'd abate it for, like how much, and why. So if there's an explanation as to what happened in 2024 or 25, I always keep an open mind here, but I'd also like to know what you're asking for. Split the difference. We can't do.
So I'm just trying to call out that, again, you're referencing 2024 as high usage, but the numbers you're looking at are 219 days versus 92 days and 75 days. So that's not high usage. If you amortize that.
I was just looking at the years.
Yeah.
Total. You had
So that's what I'm.
247 units over the course of 2024. Forget the dollar amount. The year before, you only used, I don't know, 21 gallons, and the year before that, it was 70 gallons. So there's a jump from 2022, 23, and then that big jump in 2020.
I think.
So what happened in 2024?
It's probably, so I don't know why the water use, I don't know the usage before I lived at the property. So there is an irrigation system that we turned on.
In 2024?
Probably in 24, is probably when that started, that level of usage. But that doesn't help me understand why we've added so much higher usage during this time frame.
I don't know.
I don't know.
And I don't know if it's our folks here.
Here's the thing,
or if it's the people that set the irrigation up, and maybe it was pouring out in
There
2025.
was some kind of a terrible leak or
I don't
something
know.
happening.
It's hard to understand because I don't know your property.
Yeah, and I understand that, and I also know that irrigation isn't on during the time frame that we're seeing high usage. So without December, without having to shut, some event would have had to happen to stop a leak, because the irrigation wouldn't be on in the middle of the winter. So
Well, no, the time that it was going was reeds, and the
12,
biggest
15.
one was 12, 15, but that was for
the summer months?
and then 10 was the whole summer months. So it would have been July, August, September, October, November is what you're getting your highest reads.
yeah, but it's still
Presumably, unless you shut it off.
Listen, I'm not here
I
to
know.
argue with you guys, because the occurrences at the property don't match the usage that we're seeing. Had we tested the meter and had something concrete, we could have really avoided a lot of time on everyone's part. So if anything comes out of this, what I would request is, when we have meter issues, that we don't just recycle meters, that when there's high usage of $5,000, that at least give the residents the common courtesy of being able to justify that. There is not, to say it almost never happens. That's not never. And so I would have felt more comfortable, and I would feel more comfortable paying this bill had someone just taken the 5 minutes to take a test and make sure that that was what we were seeing. I agree that we should trust our experts, so I can appreciate your sentiment there, but I would expect our experts to take the extra time for our residents to not put them in this scenario. Not everybody here in Duxbury has the money to just pay a $5,000 bill with no value or benefit to their property. So I'm just making that clear, and I would ask moving forward, if anything can come out of this, is that we require explanation when we're having these. There are towns that will raise the flag right away when they see water usage. There are towns that will, do tests on meters and things like that. And for what we pay and the taxes we pay here, I would expect that level of service from our water company. So if nothing changes and I pay the bill, absolutely fine, but I just ask that you guys take a little bit more rigor and hold our water group a little more accountable for when these things happen, that the residents have an explanation and can have the opportunity. Someone came to me and said, you have to pay for the test on the meter. Absolutely, I would have taken that to have the comfort that I'm not just throwing $5,000 out the window. So I'm just going to leave it at that, but I really appreciate your time. And I appreciate the service that the water department does provide. That's not in question. It's just what's in question is I can't explain this amount of water and that it's falling 100% on me to take care of. You know, it's just a tough pill to swallow. So.
Okay.
Yeah, and
We can
yeah,
appreciate
I mean,
that.
if it was me, I'd be right down here saying the same thing. This is a lot of money, and I definitely have the same questions that you have about this water meter, and I think it's a lesson learned, you know, certainly in the future, that if we're doing this because we're seeing excessive usage, we should at least preserve it so that we don't have this situation in the future. We can at least, when I ask the question, do we still have it? I would expect to hear, yeah, it's sitting in a box in case there's a question like this. So I do, you know, I'm listening to, I'm also saying we're not, I wouldn't vote to abate it tonight, but if there's more information you want to provide us or a different solution, you know, I mean, that's what we're here for, so.
Yes, please.
go ahead.
So if you don't mind, Dan, so how long have you been assistant water superintendent for our town?
3 months now.
3 months. Now, you've heard the comments from the residents. What are your thoughts about that? Sorry to put you on the spot, but it seems very reasonable what the homeowner is saying.
So me and Mark are in discussion now with a meter consultant to upgrade our meters in town and to upgrade the programming that we use.
Right.
So right now, the way it works is we go out and get a quarterly capture that's a snapshot. We're putting together to have a real-time read of everyone's meters. And that's something that people would be able to log into in their own home. And we would get an update every day on water usage. And it would avoid situations like this because we could set up flags on accounts. So if water usage hit a certain threshold, we get a notification. A resident will be able to set up that for themselves so they get a notification. So we have a lot of old meters in town that need to get replaced so that they can communicate in the new system. So we're looking to upgrade that and really move away from a lot of these issues with real-time reading so we can give the residents better feedback, we can have better feedback, and really have a better understanding of how much water is passing through a property at any given time.
Right. So, I mean, it sounds fantastic and answers some of the points that have been raised here. Do you have a timeline? Maybe, if you don't mind, can I request there at some point when you feel, where are we with all these changes, the definite plan? And it'd be really great if you could come back and tell us.
Yeah, we're at the beginning part now with the consultant, so we're putting in for a capital budget item for next year.
All right.
So we're hoping to be fully done with it in the next 2 years, ideally.
Okay. But it would be good, I mean, as part of the 28 budget process, if when you come in and ask for that funding, you could explain to us and to the residents
Yeah, I definitely think
why
it
you
would be
need
a
that
major
money.
benefit to the town.
Yes.
And the accuracy of the water, for sure.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Amy, can I, before Dan
Yeah.
sits down, if I can just ask 2 questions. Dan, you mentioned we still have a number of older meters in town. Just for my comfort, can you confirm that that there is no issue with those meters in overcounting volumes that are going through them?
Correct. Yeah, if anything, they're under registering. So if anything, we're losing out on revenue with those meters, for sure.
Okay. And then my it's a question, but it's in the form of request. There are folks in the room and watching this either live or later on who are interested in this issue. What advice would you give homeowners who think there's an issue with the bill? What should they do, and what timeframes are involved?
So if you get a bill and you have a discrepancy with it, definitely notify us right away. So we'll have you do an abatement. We definitely want to check that meter, make sure it's working properly. If we can data log the meter, that would be ideal because we can look at the last 90 days of usage on the meter. So that only works for the newer meters in town, but there's a good number of those. So contact us as soon as possible. And if we can't find a leak on property and it still seems like the leak probably indicated by the meter, to reach out to a plumber. But yeah, definitely contact us as soon as possible. And we try to be as best as we can about getting back to people right away. If you don't hear back from us right away, continue to reach out for sure. We definitely want to hear from residents if they have issues. We don't want anyone to feel unheard.
Thank you, Dan.
And in the defense, I mean, in the defense of the water department, it does sound like they did come out. They did see that the readings were continuing to be high and contacted you the second time. Did I hear that correctly?
Based on my call to the water department initially, yeah,
So they were responsive.
to come fix the meter.
Okay. All right, further discussion on this matter from the board. Anyone from the public wish to weigh in on this? Hearing and seeing no one, I will look for a motion. If there isn't one, I will move on to the next agenda item.
Well, I think
After we,
I think we need to vote on a zero abatement then, don't we?
no, if
No?
you either give an abatement or you don't, and,
Is
right?
that, how does it work?
I think we just take no action. That's what we did at the last one, but we can certainly move it if you'd like.
I don't need to move it. There's nothing to move.
There's nothing to abate.
Unless anybody wants, if I'm happy to vote for it, but
Okay.
All right. We need to.
Brian, are you content?
Are you content, Brian?
Yes, yes, learning opportunity for sure.
Yep.
I move that the select board adjourn the meeting, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're adjourning as
That
water
was my,
commissioners.
previous one.
Yeah.
Well, I move that the board adjourn their meeting as water and sewer commissioners and reconvene as the select board.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, roll call. Brian?
Brian, I.
Fernando, aye.
Michael, aye.
And Amy, aye. Okay, thanks, folks.
Sorry about that.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is a discussion pertaining to MassDOT letter dated July 27, 2026, to the Town of Duxbury Selectboard regarding the Powder Point Bridge Replacement Project. Yeah, I had asked that we have an agenda item for the bridge to be able to talk about, where we're at, to talk about that letter. We had a presentation the other night, so Rainey, if you'd like to kind of, summarize where we're at and where
Does
we're.
anybody need a copy of the letter? I have it. If you don't have it, it's
Yep,
the
this
response.
gentleman
This
does.
gentleman is right there.
Yeah. I'll give you those to hand out back there. Oh, you got it? Thank you. Yeah, so last week we had the presentation from Mass DOT, and in that letter, you'll see that part of it included their timeline at the back end. They talked about a lot of things. They talked about the potential impacts of the Section 106 appeal, a whole host of things. They did a better job explaining it all than I did. I just sat and listened. So the responses are here. The Powder Point Bridge Advisory Committee has received a copy of it, but I don't know that they have met to discuss any of the information contained therein. So I suspect they'll want to have a review of it, because I know that they may have additional questions too.
And they were originally scheduled in our timeline prior to the application for historic designation.
Correct.
They had been planned, it had been planned that we would hear from that advisory committee this evening as to their recommendations. And I believe is Ed Mayo here tonight?
Yeah, he's on there.
He's on the line.
He's on the line.
Hi, Ed. Yeah, I can hear you, yes. I'm thinking that your committee will be wanting to address this board on some issues that aren't contingent or not reliant on the historic designation. Is that right?
That's correct, yeah, and Rainey has thrown out August 31st as a potential date.
I didn't catch that.
I suggested August 31st as a potential date to meet
Okay,
with the Powder Point Bridge Advisory Committee.
okay. Does that work that must work with you guys, Ed?
Yep, that works great.
Okay. Go ahead, Mike. I'm hoping to just listen.
Yeah,
and
so
talk about
I'll
this.
start with
There's a lot
this.
to
This
talk
is
about.
part 4 of the letter, the construction duration sequencing environmental constraints. In this letter, and what was reiterated multiple times during the meeting that it was based on our current understanding of what we may represent a reasonable best-case permitting scenario. The anticipated construction duration is approximately 4.5 years. What gives me great pause with this project is the economic impacts of a 4.5+ year closure, because it would be a complete closure of the bridge for those 4.5 years. And I certainly can go down the list from beach sticker revenue to the impacts on Duxbury Beach Reservation, the impacts to homeowners out in Saquesh along Gurnett Road, Gurnett Road being a private way that would not be improved for this project, as I understand it. The small businesses it's a public way?
Public.
Okay, so it's a public way. I apologize, I misspoke. The impact to the businesses that rely on that traffic coming to the bridge, none of that has been really discussed here or considered, nor would I expect engineers at MassDOT their job was to come up with a bridge. But there's a lot of impacts here, not to mention sand. I mean, this beach requires sand to be dumped on it every couple of years on that detour road. And with these impacts that I discussed, whether Duxbury Beach Reservation or anyone else could afford to keep that replenishment program going during these 4.5 years of a 7-year detour. 7-year detour that also goes through Cox's Corner, that our Highway Advisory Committee and others in the community have demanded for years be addressed by MassDOT for its safety concerns. We're talking about sending thousands of people through that intersection. So I do have these concerns for the duration that is discussed here. And this is a best case scenario that really contemplates doing construction during very minimal, during winter months and New England winters, or in fall months when the birds aren't out there and there's other maritime issues that are not at play. So I think the 4.5 is a very conservative number, but I think most of the people that were at the presentation last Wednesday would concur that, and I think MassDOT would concur that it's much more than that. So I do have all those concerns. I would have liked to see some kind of economic impact study to go in parallel with this. So that's my first comment.
Thank you. Brian, do you want to jump in at this point, or?
Yeah, just, it's more of an issue that's not addressed very deeply in the letter. One of the areas I really need to hear more from MassDOT on is long-term maintenance of the new bridge. And I realize when it's new, there's not a lot you need to do with it, but it's forecast to last at least 75, hopefully 100 years. And where the town is going to assume all responsibility for the bridge, as we do for the existing bridge. I need to have a better understanding as to what those numbers are going to look like. There will be different types of maintenance that we need to do that we're not used to doing now. And for me to have a better understanding as to whether, and there are folks on both sides of this issue who I know and respect greatly. Some advocate very strongly for the new bridge. Others advocate very strongly to rehabilitate the existing bridge. And the one theme that I keep hearing, and I completely understand and I sympathize with and I agree, is cost. What's it going to cost not only for the rehabilitation of the existing bridge or the construction of the new bridge, but then looking into the future, that's just the event of being able to cut a ribbon on something and say, okay, now it's open, we can get back and forth to the beach. What is it going to cost us to keep that access open for the decades and potentially century to come? DOT, I understand, has identified the areas that we need to look at, but there really isn't much in the way of cost that has been estimated. There was some discussion Wednesday night about it, but that's an area where I personally really need more information from Mass DOT, and it was mentioned but not really covered in any great detail in this letter. So that's my big concern at the moment.
Thank you. Fernando, do you have anything you want to?
Yeah, I really enjoyed that meeting, that DOT, the presentation that took place on Wednesday. And I'm walking away right now is basically just trying to understand. Marco stressed several times the geotechnical work and the implications that the results of that geotechnical work can have a significant impact on what our options are. Okay. And secondly, obviously, with now the submittal of the 106 review, again, the outcome of that, combined with the geotechnical, I just don't know, but those two decision points will have a significant impact on this conversation and the choice we're having. So I think, in a way, right now we're waiting. Me personally, I'm waiting. Right, I understand all these comments, and they're all valid. And if we could replace the bridge and keep it wooden, it would be absolutely fantastic. But again, for us as a select board to make a decision, the geotechnical work and the 106 review will have a significant impact on the options that we will be making a decision on. So that's where I am right now.
So I am looking at I'm more of a top-down person. I sit up here with people who work from the bottom up sometimes. So I try to look at the bigger issues first and then drill down. And I agree, we're in a bit of a holding pattern right now because of the historic designation
And the
application.
geotechnical work.
And I feel that we should use that time wisely. So I want to kind of talk about this and maybe have it not only on this agenda, but on agendas moving forward. The public, from what I am hearing from the public, it's very split. There isn't an overwhelming majority of one way or the other. What I do hear is from the people who are advocating for the Mass DOT bridge, a lot of times that's based on the cost. People are stretched thin, they don't have extra money that they want, that they really feel like they just don't want to pay for this again. And I get that. But when you kind of explore a little deeper and say, well, if that funding, if a wood bridge, if the restoration of the wood bridge was funded in some way, would that change your mind? And it oftentimes is the case. So that being said, I think we owe it to the town. What our role here has been, and the way I've tried to approach this, and I think we all have, is to try to gain as much information as we possibly can so we know what our options are, what the cost of those options are, what the time of those options, what each option entails to the best of our ability, and also and maintenance. If you pick this option, what does it mean going forward? So we're still in the information gathering process. I think we're doing a good job. I have some concerns that I did share with Rainey. The reason for the last reference in this letter is that I have been very concerned about getting to a place, and I can read it out. I'd like, Rainey writes, is there any percentage of completion threshold or any other action or project milestone that could create a point of no return with respect to the project? I know that the Select Board would be concerned with a process that could limit or eliminate the town's ability to walk away from the project. So I've been very concerned about that. The response that Mass DOT provided indicates that, I should have highlighted this, but that there is that point would be at the time that we go out for applications, I think it says. And actually, if you go on to read this, it's a very long response, but it speaks, we are at that point. It starts out by saying we're at a time where let me find it. MassDOT has worked cooperatively, blah, blah, blah. The last one.
Worker signatures?
Yes.
Powder blend bush will be designed, permitted, but we are at the permitting, wait a minute, it's working. The old kind of. MassDOT is currently targeting advertisement of the project for the design build procurement in early 2027.
That's right, February 27th, I think you seemed to say that.
So,
the meeting.
but at some point, and maybe it is earlier in the letter, but it references that we're also at that time, or we're approaching the time where we would have been, probably prior to the historic designation, of going out to some type of design build. I'll find that. But I just want to continue to have the conversation that I think is very important to all of us, which would be that we don't get caught in a scenario where all of a sudden we're at that point of no return. So I just want to continue to be aware of that, make sure we're not approaching that, ask questions, are we getting close to it? Where are we in the process? And then finally, I do want to talk about the enormity of this decision. And again, we're in a time where we have a little bit of a delay. And to try to use that time wisely in getting the answers and the information that will help the residents to make a decision on which way we go here as a
Actually,
town.
the board makes the decision.
I understand that, and I think that that is something that maybe our advisors are going to speak to, which is the board make it. What Rainey just said, he reminded me that the board makes the decision. And that has been, but is that the best way? I'm just going to, is that what we want as a board want to do? And no, not yet. And is that a conversation that we want to have? And do we want to explore if we're comfortable making this type of decision? Or are we, or are there ways that we can try to seek other more public input, like a special town meeting? So I think that we need to have those types of conversations, because the enormity of this decision for 5 people to make for the entire town is weighing heavy. So those are the things that I had wanted to talk about. So I think we're all having our, have some things that we're struggling with. Not struggling, but need more information about. So part of the information gathering, if there are opportunities for the wood approach, how do we provide the residents with information as to what that might cost, or if there are grants and funds available, maybe if it, with a historic designation or without. I mean, how do we proceed in order to get this information? Mike?
I was encouraged by the fact that Marco, during that meeting, was offering some credence to the idea of rehabilitation. I think he had, and maybe this is what Fernando was talking about, the geotechnical review. My hope would be that they would assist with presenting some options. I mean, they have this significant amount of money set aside for this project. They have other projects throughout the state. I would hope that they would give it some strong consideration to the taxpayers, of Massachusetts here, to consider options. And kudos to our residents here who have given them something to chew on and to consider. They're public servants, and I'm hopeful that they'll consider it. To your question, Amy, I think. I know I've been doing this for probably 6 months. I've been hoping to kind of, give MassDOT, this is a project they've offered us, give them the best opportunity to provide, a project to us to consider all the historical impacts and now maybe considering rehabilitation of it, which I would expect would be far less of a time impact on the bridge. But I think we're still in this waiting period. I don't know if there's, as far as your town meeting question, there's nothing at this point to put before them that would be binding. It's an uncomfortable position to be in. Every capital project that we've discussed, goes through various committees and is vetted and discussed, and community gets to weigh in it and vote on it ultimately. This is different, but we're also not the ones with the funds to pay for it. So it's a difficult question because, fill a room with folks for a non-binding question, it seems like not a very good resource.
No, I agree, but not for that, point of no return that wears on me. I wouldn't be concerned. I'd feel like we had, plenty of time and ability to bring it to the vote, to the town meeting at any point. But that seems to be not really an option with this process. So I'm just trying to kind of plan ahead and strategize as to how to best represent the town, the town's best interest. What do they want? How do they want us to do this? And I agree. I'm really hoping that MassDOT will consider, they did say that they would, the rehabilitation approach.
Does anybody, I'd be happy to hear this in open form. I'd be open to some suggestions on how to, I don't know if they need anything more fed to them, or they seem to be interested in on the Tingley study, but I don't want this to be chaos and just, throwing ideas out there. If there's a way we can collaboratively work to, bring our community's concerns to the table, I think that's an important thing.
Yeah. But I'm pleased that people are starting to use our email addresses, right? So we're starting to get feedback from the community. So I think please do continue. If you're listening in, please do share your thoughts on that. I still come back to that point is if we had clarity on the choice and the cost of these choices, right? Then we could sit down and have a conversation around what the options that we're facing. But right now, DOT is working hard to develop the options and provide clarity. We've been pushing, and there's work that needs to be done. And this is the wooden bridge, by the way. This is work that needs to be done to get clarity on the cost for that, how it would be funded, and all the options. So there's a lot of work out there. However, maybe I'm interpreting two things from what the conversation that Marco shared with us, right? The implication for the geotechnical work was that if it came out like he suspected, one of the options goes away. And that's this one,
Which one?
the wooden bridge. Right? If that the geotechnical work comes out there, so that kind of basically is the option, right? The other thing is, if that geotechnical work doesn't preclude that, then it's the 106, right? And the 106 will have a big impact on the options facing it. So I'm just, from my point of view, it's difficult to make a decision, right? When we can work hard, we can invest money, we can bring a consultant in, we can bring SGH back in there. Remember, they said engineering figures, and Mr. Brogner knows when you need quality engineering work to be able to come up with a quality cost estimate, right? But so we will have to go and start spending money, which we should don't have money appropriate to do that work. So for me, I want to see that the geotechnical work. Rennie, I think the impression I get from the conversations that we've that been having of this, that we should see that hopefully within the next month or two, right?
I didn't get a
You
date.
didn't get any date on that.
Yes, I don't know.
But then and then there was October was for the 106 review, I think, the timeline,
They have
right?
to, yeah, they
You
have
have to go
70
30
days.
days, and they got the 45 days.
Yeah, they have 70 days to review it, so that's around
Right.
Columbus Day.
Yeah.
We should have a decision rendered
So can-
before
Right,
that.
and let me just add one final point with regards to the drop dead date, right? Again, this is my understanding, right? I could be completely wrong, but the implication was that in the February 27 drop dead date, there was like $170 million, and they forecasted spending 25. And this is what we need to clarify with Marco, right? If we go past the drop dead date, if we haven't made a decision then, right, we just lose that year's $25 million, then the project, then that money is still available in 28. Again, that's maybe I misunderstood that, right? But we just lose one. Anyway, so, yeah, there's...
The
there's
question was put as a point of no return, and we would be roped in, and that wasn't disputed in any way in the answer. So
It was roped in for the financing, for the 1 year's worth of financing. That's what I
That's
heard.
not how I was reading it,
Okay, all right,
but we
then
should
we-
confirm that.
we
We
should
should
confirm.
definitely,
Yeah.
which I've been trying to do.
Yeah. But what I'm hoping is, based on the geotechnical work and the 106 review, options could be narrowed down. And we are not faced with, in the end, the decision is taken away from
Can you
us.
explain the geotechnical work a little bit that would make the
Right.
reconstruction a
Re-
showstopper?
Remember when he said there that the geotechnical work was concerned when there was a scouring effect, right? And that the sand got removed, and then when it came back again, it filled up there. But the implication was, from what I understood from Marco when he made the statement, is that the wooden piles can go only a certain distance, while the steel piles go down to bedrock, right? So it kind of minimizes. But again, that's what I think he said. All right, so I think we'll get that confirmed as to whether wooden piles would be acceptable for a geotechnical study. Because if that's for funding, right? That's for funding. If we do the 106 and it turns out that this historic bridge and we've got to replace it like for like, then if you can't guarantee the structure, federal money and funding and grants, right, to pay for all this, and if we decide to go on our own, again, we just need, these are big questions that need to be answered and that affect our decision point.
Really big questions, and
Yeah.
so that's the whole reason for this
Uh-huh.
talk tonight,
Yeah.
is there any way or questions that we think we should be or could be working on to get information to help us with these options, or is it?
I would, to me, critical point right now, the critical path through all the decision-making process is the geotechnical work. So maybe we send a request from this board, all right, stating that we are getting concerned that we're reaching a point of no return and we'd like to understand where we are and maybe see what we can do is through that letter request an acceleration, a more focused, or a commitment from DOT as to when they'll come back with that geotechnical work to clarify what the concern is and what impact that may have on the future of or what work can be done on the bridge.
Maybe I missed this too. I think there's they expected some kind of response about the 106, an initial response or something like that too. Maybe I'm misheard it.
Isn't that expected within 70 days?
70 days, I think
there's
30 and
some type of-
45.
Yeah. So we are in a bit of a holding pattern now.
We're in a bit, well, there's a lot of unknowns, and I did bring it up at the meeting. I'll continue to bring it up
Yep.
till,
Till the cows come home.
Yeah, I'm good at beating those poor dead horses. But, the environmental impacts, they should not be minimized. They,
Sure.
The bay is a very fragile ecosystem, and, from the eelgrass to the oyster, and
Yep.
we need to ensure that everything possible is done to protect it. And people
Correct.
are aware of what the potentials are
Yep.
for the disruption of that ecosystem. I don't know where our aquaculture, where are the people,
Because
Need to-
when you can imagine during the construction period, the guys will want to go and harvest the
Oysters.
the oysters on the other side of the bridge, right? Not just this
They
side,
can.
but the other side. And
it's
again,
not
that's an
just
issue.
access. Apparently it silts up the water and
Right, all that
makes
kind of
it,
stuff, yeah.
There's
It-
a lot of information
A
out
lot of
there.
information. Any pile work, whether it's wooden piles or steel piles, 555 piles versus 20. But
And-
I think there's Mr. Dalton will at some point come up there and tell us everything. But when the time is right, Mr. Dalton.
There's a way now.
Well, and I will say that, I in no way meant any disrespect to the folks that are, but whereas we are representing the town, I'm find it's difficult to be satisfied with oh, we're doing that work, so just trust us kind of thing.
Sure.
Because the town is going to look to us
Correct.
if something goes south. So
Yep.
I think, we just have to keep being the squeaky wheel, pain in the necks, but
Yep.
willing to do it.
And to be fair to the folks that don't attend these meetings, we do get letters that express just what Amy was saying at the beginning, that essentially say you're crazy not to take the free money. They go into great detail, but we do get that side of it too. So
We do. It's
it's not-
usually the money. It's not that they don't love the look of the bridge
That's
or
right.
they're sick of that wood
Yeah.
noise. That's not what they're saying.
Yeah.
It really comes down to the money part of it, which I know is really important for us too. And I wish we were able to get more information during this delay period as to how some of these alternatives to the Mass DOT bridge could be funded, but I'm not hearing any ways to really do that.
It's not been explored, that's the problem.
No, wait a
It
minute.
hasn't
wait.
been explored.
what did you want to say?
Go ahead,
No, that's okay. It's all right.
Should we go
Just kidding.
to
the public.
the public and
Let me
I
just
think
ask
maybe
Brian.
explored. Can I say something? Okay, yeah, Brian.
Brian, do you have anything else at this time?
No, I think everything that's been said is what we've all been thinking. I do certainly appreciate the public engagement. I've been asking, people are, I think, maybe sick of me asking about the bridge at this point. I'm grabbing people by the lapels and just tell me what you think about the bridge and why. One thing I would ask, and we read all of our emails, and we're getting certainly a lot of them on all sides of this issue. I would ask for folks who are writing in to not only advocate that point, but explain why. What is the rationale for them picking one or the other? Because some of them say, I just want X or Y, which is helpful to have that information. But for me anyway, it's even more helpful to have a better understanding as to the rationale behind why somebody either wants to keep the existing bridge or wants to explore the Mass DOT bridge. That's all I'd add to the conversation.
Yeah, thank you. I'm a stickler for names. If you don't sign your name, I try to respond to some of them. I can't get to all of them these days. I was good at the beginning, but if you don't sign your name, I tend to, I really want to respond if you give your name.
Yep.
And also, there's been a request or a suggestion from someone on a board or committee that at some point departments weigh in, boards and committees in town. That might be a good thing. They weigh in on town meeting votes, so maybe at some point as we move forward, we ask, boards and committees who want to weigh in on this.
I believe the Finance Committee and the Fiscal Advisory Committee will be
Sorry, we
doing.
can't hear you.
I believe the Finance Committee and the Fiscal Advisory Committee will both be doing just that.
Okay, and I mean other groups, with conservation, open space, other relevant boards. Conservation plays a big part in this, and I would like to hear from them. Anything else from the board right now? I'll open it up to the public. All right, does anyone wish to speak tonight? Ms. Babcock.
Surprise. Alicia Babcock, Ocean Road South. I have a lot of notes here that I've been taking, so I apologize if they're kind of out of order. I think one of the main questions that I have is, regardless of the position that you take on this, whether you are pro-DOT bridge or you're pro-wood, I'm having a really hard time understanding why the select board hasn't taken a position on this in terms of the historical aspect. I mean, this is a town that prides itself on history. We have a very robust historical commission. And the historical, the getting a letter of eligibility would seem like top priority no matter what avenue the town decides to go down. It protects the town, it protects the bridge, it protects the outcome. And I don't understand why there's been such resistance. And I want to also ask again, I know I 2 weeks ago made a request from the podium at Open Forum, but I would like to request again that the select board really consider taking a stance on this, a public stance. At some point in the future, whatever the outcome is of this bridge, there will be people looking back to today as the history of how future decisions. And I don't think that it looks good that the select board can't take a position on it. And I also think that it would be good for the town to consider putting in your own application for a letter of eligibility. There's no harm in having two of them. It only strengthens the ask. And I don't know if the select board has to give permission to the historical commission in order to do that, or if they can operate independently. But I think it really there should be another package that comes from the town making this request, because it's just protecting the outcome. And so I'm confused by that, and I don't know if maybe somebody can maybe answer that, or if you want to just.
Does anybody want to speak to the historic? The board did have a conversation about it, and at the time that we talked about it, I think we were certainly open to it, felt that it was worthy of consideration, but I think we held off on it because Mass DOT said, let us show you that we're going to give you, pretty much everything that would be in the historic. So we held off, and I think we haven't had the conversation again because we found out that that there has been an application filed. And I also was hoping to get, I know, for me, I've been, really reliant on our advisors. The board thought about who to put on our group of advisors so that they could help us through this process. So I was waiting on them for some guidance on that as well. But I have no problem picking that up. I don't know where my fellow board members stand.
Can I just interject?
Yeah.
At your meeting on September 15th of last year, the board agreed to the following. No one supported the idea of canceling the project. You agreed to the concept of hiring a consultant. And then thirdly, to appeal. Yes. Secondly, to agree to hiring a consultant. And third, appeal.
There's like 20 seats up here.
Yeah, 20, come on.
Yeah.
Come on up.
Guys,
Come on up here.
Like,
There's plenty of open
don't bite.
seats.
yeah.
And then to appeal the non-historic designation, Section 106, it was agreed by the board to hire and work with the consultant first, continue to work with Mass DOT and see how the project progresses, and then appeal if need be.
Right,
So
so I think
subsequent to that.
we had decided to even hire a consultant, right? We had
Yep,
talked
and
about
the-
a consultant.
And the money never came forward, so that was abandoned, and instead, Mass DOT worked very closely with the Powder Point Bridge Advisory Committee and the board to make sure that, as they have told us, that the project that they have presented to us on 4 occasions now is about 95% complete in terms of what you would find in a 106 filing. We're about to find out if that's true or not.
Yeah.
So that's what they have told us.
Well,
Truth will be found. We'll find out.
I mean, with all due respect, the select board operates based on recommendations from you and from advisory committees, and I think it was not really laid out in a way that the select board fully understood the ramifications of that, and.
What do you say?
Well, in the sense that by not pursuing it earlier, by not really taking the historic 106 letter of eligibility, and having that always as like a safety net, we're now in a position where we're kind of making assumptions, and we're seeing that Mass DOT has been working with us. But when the project ultimately goes out to bid, as I understand it from sitting in on the advisory committee meetings, there's an element of loss of control over the outcome of the project at that point. Just because,
That's a valid point, but it's two separate issues.
Well, yes and no. If there was a letter of eligibility that the town had, that would preserve the town's ability to, or Mass DOT would have to work with certain contractors that would have to provide a bridge that, just like what happened with the Mitchell River Bridge, that they would be required to give a bridge that looked exactly like the conceptual drawings that they're presenting to us. There's no doubt that they're trying. I mean, it's obvious they've been working really hard, and what they've been producing. I mean, the woman that's the architect is extremely talented. That's not the issue. It's just that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what the town winds up with. And again, no matter what side of this coin you're on, having a letter of eligibility does nothing but protect the town. There's nothing but value added. So I'd like to request that. I don't know who it would begin with, under the select board or the historical commission, but that there be another attempt at 106 filing, so that there's when the keeper receives this package, that it's a little bit more.
An appeal was
supported.
filed.
I know appeals filed, but that doesn't
Okay.
mean that there can't be more than one.
I have read that it is more impactful if it comes from the town.
If it does, yes.
And our own historic commission has endorsed it, so I'm happy to put on an agenda a meeting with the historic commission, and let's
Their letter is
talk
in
about
that
it.
106 appeal.
I know, but
Well,
again, but ours
Yes,
isn't.
but
So
it
I'm-
would be great if we had a letter from the select board also. And I don't even know at this point, because I'm not the one that did the package, but I don't know if it can even be added at this point. But it would not hurt to have another, another subsequent package sent in from the town. That would speak volumes.
I just want to clarify, are you saying a complete 106 appeal package, or are you saying a letter of support from the board? They're
Well,
very
well,
different.
at a minimum, a letter of support.
Do you want to have that conversation now? Do you want to put it on for an agenda item? What's the pleasure?
I think we need to put it on for later.
Okay.
I'm just rereading the agenda, and we're supposed to be talking about the Mass DOT letter of July 27. So I realize all this stuff is related. I think we might be getting a little far afield, and I
That's
know
fine.
there are lots of folks in town who are very interested and understandably, and may have been here tonight if they thought we were going to get into this discussion. So I'd suggest putting it on a further agenda.
Okay, that's
Okay,
fair enough.
We can do that. And
And the other thing I wanted to just say regarding this is, I know that there are still people out there that are concerned about the money. And I know that it hasn't been fleshed out yet about what's potentially available and how we can pay for it. But this is not a free bridge. We're still paying for it with our tax money. I mean, it's not, might not be coming out of any Duxbury budget, but we're still paying for it. Nothing is free. And in 20 years from now or sooner or in that vicinity, someone's going to be paying for it. Our children are going to be paying for it to maintain it and deal with whatever the ramifications are that come along with it. We can make our best guesses. Mass DOT can come back and give us their best guess on maintenance and all of that, but nobody knows. It's not something that we've dealt with before. Yes, wood has been maintenance. Anything's maintenance. We know that now. But it's the devil we know. It's the devil we like. And it's not going to cause a bunch of ripple effects that are going to be really detrimental to town in a lot of ways. This is not, I mean, DOT has already said, and they said it in here, this is 7 to 10 years. This is a generational build. Some of us will never see the outcome in our lifetime. And it's a lot. And as far as the geotechnical stuff goes, I don't know. I just feel like this pivot to the geotechnical, I don't know if Mass DOT did that with the Mitchell River Bridge. Maybe Ed would know the answer to that. I don't know if that's something that is just popping up now for us, but common sense would tell me that if there was that much scour being generated, we would have felt the impacts of that by now. We have lived through, in 40 years, many hurricanes, many nor'easters, many things that would have caused a problem. And I would imagine it would also affect the oyster beds as well, if there was that much scour. So I can't imagine that that's going to be that much of an issue. I think that the town needs to really decide, you know, what do we want? Do we want wood or not? And I think if we want wood, there are ways to make it happen. We just have to put our hearts into it. There's do more research. Maybe Dr. Tingley comes back and does another inspection, does the full level 3, and we get more data from him. I'm not sure, but I do think that again, at the very least, we need to protect ourselves with the letter of eligibility. Okay?
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. I do want to echo what Susan Curtis mentioned a moment ago. And it seems like that should have been talked about more than a year ago, and that was pursuing the funding to preserve the Woodbridge by grants and other means. And that hasn't been looked at all from the board or the town manager. So I have to ask why that hasn't been looked at. Because there's been a great deal of energy.
Clarify what you're
Well,
asking for?
You had very clearly said that the Mass DOT came up with 172 million. Now it's 186 million. They haven't even done any work, and beside the planning part. And it seems to me that all the time and energy the town has spent, that is the town manager, the select board has spent entertaining the DOT project, there's been no energy pursuing alternate funding and revenues to preserve the bridge we have. Why hasn't that taken place?
Because they made it abundantly clear that they won't fund a wooden bridge.
They did, but
Yes.
you have the position and the ability to look into federal money and grant money for restoration.
No, I don't.
And you have not done that.
I'm not the Metropolitan Planning Organization. I don't do
You have the
that.
ability as a historic body to preserve the historic integrity of our town, to look at the monies that are available and can be redirected for wood restoration. You have not done
The
any of
state
that.
already made the determination that it's not considered historic. That's why the 106 is being appealed.
So I think that's part of the, I want to keep this cordial.
I don't mean
I
to-
think we're trying
cordial.
to find out, that's part of what this discussion is about, is trying to get some of those answers as to what is available out there. Right now, we don't know whether it's going to be deemed historic or not. So, there's a lot of questions that
Even
impact those
even the
answers.
historic piece aside, Amy, you had asked last year, and I was present at the meeting, when you saw that part of that, which Kurt Jengerson, I believe is how you say his name, didn't mark it off as historic, or that it had any importance to the community on that application, that you asked for that to be looked into, and it was never looked into. I waited a whole year for that to be looked into. And so there was an obligation, a missed opportunity to look into that further. But history aside from the bridge, wood restoration, as Dr. Tingley very clearly pointed out, is a lot more reasonable and a lot less detrimental to our ecosystems. Why aren't we looking into the funds for that?
Well, I think we are. I think that's what the part of this discussion is.
Mm-hmm.
We are trying to figure out how we do that. If Mass DOT isn't going to pay for it,
No.
how can we get
Well,
funding for it?
That's my question. The grant writing, a grant writer should be investigated. And I know that Alicia brought to the table at June 15th a grant writer who talked very nicely about funds that are available for wood restoration. So has the board or anybody looked into discussing that further with her? I mean, these are valid questions. I think that's worth investigating. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Dalton,
Good evening, sir.
welcome to the podium.
Thank you for having me. Peter Dalton, Wadsworth Road, also I'm a member of the Shellfish Advisory Board. We had a nice meeting the other night, and we almost arrived at $8 million worth of revenue last year, a dock price for oysters in the bay, which is very important to 40 different farmers, their wives and children. I've spoken earlier about hydraulic leaks being in this industry, bridge industry, construction, and booms being put around construction sites with leakage, okay? I'm going to leave that one alone, just to leave that out there for you. The other thing, we have a barrier beach, as you all know, and the beach, has to be restored. I've had my hockey teams out there planting seagrass yearly. We bring in the 18-wheelers of sand. We bring in snow fencing. Obviously, the reason for that is to protect the intercoastal line, which is very important to many people that sit here, because if you have breaches in the beach and you don't maintain that, it's going to be a disaster. We have usually 1 or 2 breaches a year on the length of the beach. The other thing is, too, I have grandchildren that take from the east end of the bridge with their bicycles over the bridge to go to the maritime school and a daily thing, and a lot of kids do that. They live on the east end, down by Pine Point Place and all those locations. They depend on that bridge to get into the town. My daughter's not going to have their kids, little kids, going through Marshfield, down Route 3A, coming back around in town to go to the maritime school. They also have friends on the west end that they visit daily to go to school. They don't go all the way through Marshfield, all the way on 3A, and all the way back. So to just think that that bridge could be shut down, being in the construction industry and building bridges, they said up to 5 years. You cannot build concrete, asphalt, and steel in the winter months. We all know that. The construction schedule is going to be delayed tremendously. You have 6-hour tide coming in, 6-hour tide going back. Jack barges, I explained earlier, you cannot move those in low tide. You cannot move them in frozen and ice. And in bad weather, jack barges in some of my projects had to be moved to safe harbors. And last year, when we were sistering pilings here, the barge had left. I followed the barge, had to go to Plymouth Harbor with permission to tie up to their docks. We do not have docks here for those jack barges to tie into for a safe harbor. You got to keep all this in your mind. This just prolongs the construction industry and building. The other thing I had asked for, and I asked for when I draw up plans and specs for hotels and different things, the owners want a start date and a completion date, rightfully so. And then what I will do for them, as requested, is put an LD clause in there, liquidated damages. The owners have to know when is this going to be completed so I can start turning over revenue. This stuff has to be all considered in all of this. And the other thing is we have, I think, 16,300 people in town. With the response that we're getting from all these people, this group, it's thousands of people that don't want this state highway bridge be put in a little residential seaside village. The people from DOT do not live here. They want to build it because they want to spend money. I'm dealing with the NRC, Nuclear Regulatory Commission, okay, at the Plymouth Holtec plant. They wanted to dump the 1.1 million gallons of nuclear waste into our bay. I sat with the NRC and asked them where they come from. They wouldn't answer me on the podium. I said, excuse me, would you like me to elevate my tone? Where do you live? A fellow on the Zoom screen said, sorry, Mr. Dalton, but we live in Washington, D.C., the Virginia area. I said, oh, interesting. So you flew here tonight to the 1620 Hotel in Plymouth to tell these over 1,000 people it's okay to dump 1.1 million gallons of nuclear waste into Duxbury Bay, Plymouth Bay, and Kingston Bay, and you don't even live here. Really?
We get that.
I'm
but
just
let's
saying,
try to focus
we
on
have
the
other people, I
PowerPoint
know that,
page.
but we have DOT coming into our little 16,300 people here, telling us they want to spend $186 million. Go spend it somewhere else. If you took a public vote here for the 16,300 people, they would vote to save that bridge, not 5 people making a decision for 16,300 people. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Dolan, I hear what you're saying, but I think to shoot the messenger, I mean, the Mass DOT is doing their job.
Yes, they are.
They've been asked to give a bid on, what they can do, and that's what they're doing. So, I think it's unfair to kind of villainize them.
I am not. I deal with them all the time.
Okay.
State highway work, we're doing a lot of bridge work with them. All you see in the winter months, you don't see any construction in the winter months. If you see Route 93, 95 right now, all the overhead work is being done in the spring and summer. If you see debris netting, it's hanging all over in the underside of all the bridges. That's to save all the concrete and asphalt road supplies coming down.
You don't even need to convince me on that. I was at the meeting on Wednesday.
Okay.
I listened to everything they were saying. I've seen the repairs we've been doing. I saw our East Street Bridge. I heard Marco's responses. That's why I raised the concerns I did at the beginning of the meeting.
That-
I have very similar concerns on the duration of this project.
Okay. Well, thank you for listening to me. I really appreciate it. I really do. I'm just trying to speak for the majority of the people in town. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak?
Frank, you'll be next.
Do you want to go first, Frank? Perhaps. They'll like you better. They will. Susan Curtis, High Street. I've talked to a stupid number of people because I'm a blabbermouth, and that's what I do. I talk to a lot of people. And if you take the money equation out, the answer is always a wood bridge. So here's the deal. With the OCMPC, and you can figure out that because I couldn't spit it out right now, the monies that are there, I think there's almost $60 million. Ed can correct me on this. And it can be used for a wooden bridge, okay? Nobody has explored that. Nobody has said we need to take a look at this. Just because Mass DOT says we don't do those bridges doesn't mean they can't do that bridge. They refuse to do that bridge. We only looked in one direction. It was always predetermined. This went on for 4.5 years that we know of without us ever knowing. And we need to, if it's not going to be you, Please depend on your Powder Point Bridge Advisory Committee. You have some ferociously sharp people that are doing the work, they're figuring it out. Have them do it. Have them bring it to you. Have them tell you what we can do. And if we need to hire somebody that does grant writing, we do that. But I don't think we have to do that. We just have to say, here's this pot of money. It can be used for the MDOT bridge, or it can be used for a wood bridge. What do we want to do? Simple. It's simple. But we've been so focused looking in one direction that we haven't done the simple thing. It's not hard. It's easy. Let's do it. Please ask the Powder Point Bridge Advisory Committee to do this. There's been a lot of research. There's been a lot of numbers that have been presented. This baloney about a free bridge. In 25 years, we're going to have to put aside $800,000 a year, far exceeding what we're doing right now, to accumulate the amount of money it's going to cost us in 25 years to do this bridge. What are we doing? We're shooting ourselves in the head. Let's not do that. Let's be smart and do the right thing. Thank you.
Just to clarify, what is what are we thinking of an agenda for the 31st with the Powder Point Advisory Committee?
To listen to their recommendations.
Are you hoping to get them in sooner rather than that?
No, I don't think we can, yeah.
We can't?
No.
We don't have room? Okay.
But is that sufficient to the board? I'm just asking here.
So,
Like, what do we want to put on? I don't want to be in a situation where we can't ask or direct the Powder Point Advisory Committee. We haven't heard their recommendations, but I suppose we could tell them to do something.
I would hope. I mean, I think Ed's listening. Ed, are you able to speak to any, in your report, have you looked at any funding through the Metropolitan
Well, I don't want to
Planning
discuss
Commission, or-
that tonight. I just want to make sure our agenda is
Yeah, broad
sufficient
enough.
for August 31st.
I will make sure.
So, can you guys hear me?
Go ahead, Ed.
Go
You
ahead,
gotta
Ed.
speak up.
So I sent over earlier, and that's why I sent it over, was some recommendations that we had based on prior to the information from the DOT 106 submission. So everything in there is really going to be concurrent with what we're going to be presenting on August 31st. So if you take a look at it, y'all at the email, that would be a lot to all over. As far as the financial things go, we'll definitely look into that. I was supposed to be meeting with somebody from the finance committee to work on that in the next couple of weeks.
So I
Okay,
think,
thank you.
I think he said they're going to be working on
They're
it.
working on it.
That's what I think he said.
Thanks, Ed. We're going to look forward to it.
Yeah.
Well, and I do want to thank Paul and Ed and all the other members of the Powder Point Advisory. The work you've done. And I mean, as Paul said in the past, the direction that you've been given is the direction we've given you. But with what you've done extraordinary work, and I appreciate it. So, and I know you're just volunteers, so thank you.
Frank?
Ma'am. Frank Geisel, Pilgrim Byway here in Duxbury. So there's just a couple of points that we're going to talk about. And one of them is this term geotechnical, which I've now heard, okay? It smells a lot like a head fake, and I'll tell you why I know, okay? Because my degree
Smells
is
like a what? I'm sorry.
a head fake.
Head fake.
Okay? Like, look over here, we have a problem. We're going to call it geotechnical. Why do I know? My degree is in ocean engineering. Okay? So I know something about currents and water flow and sand and scour. I've lived here for a long time like you have. I'm listening in the near distance to the last time anyone in our town, of any scientific bent, for all of the committees that we've had, for people who sail, surf, fish, walk on the water, I don't know, who've come back to you and said, oh my goodness, we have a scour problem around our bridge. Have you seen this? Has anyone ever come and said that in the past 20 years? Answer, no. Okay? So number one, I'm really concerned when someone says, we have a geotechnical problem and we're about to do a big modeling study. Good. Who's going to look over their shoulder for you. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe you need to hire a consultant. I don't know. So- we can let the fox
All
guard
right,
the hen
no,
house.
no.
So I have a real problem with the geotechnical thing. You want somebody to look it over? Fine. Let's find out why now. Okay, it doesn't pass the sniff test to me. Why now? Why is this a big deal? Why is this going to be a showstopper? Okay, doesn't ring true. It absolutely does not ring true. Number two. Marco had a slide that said, "How did we get here?" And it went back to it listed the 4 meetings that were had. Even though some of the documents, you said yourself, right? Some of these documents you're showing us say you've been at this for 10 years. So it's disingenuous at best, misleading perhaps at best, because this has been going on for a long time. We heard tonight, not when, but how did we get on the tip list and decision making? You're feeling the weight of a decision you have to make for your town. This goes back, okay, let me just tie this into what Marco said. I'm here, says Marco, at the request of your town. Actually, he said, by that I mean your town manager. But let's say our town. Okay? And you have a big job in front of you. How are we going to do this? You, I don't believe, Select Board, were involved in the initial decision to actually get us here. And that really bothers me because I'm a decision maker like you guys are. And so let's talk.
Can I stop you for 1 second?
Yes, sir.
Help me help you here. So, you want a wood bridge. You want to rehab or restore the bridge. Ms. Curtis came up, gave some ideas about how we can work with our Powder Point Advisory Committee. Might I suggest, rather than trying to rehash the past, which may be indisputable, I don't have the records in front of me, I'm not sure what it is you're saying, but going forward here, where we have this opportunity, we have this pause, we're waiting for a study and things like that, might I suggest you and your group work with us here, like what Ms. Curtis said about, ways we can work within our committees here, work within our town, or just wait. And I don't know, I don't want to speak for the rest of my board here, but rather than rehashing the past, how we can move forward here.
Yeah, none of us were on the board 10 years ago, or even back in
I just,
21.
It's important. Let me just say,
if it's relevant, certainly let me know, but I don't find that relevant. Like today, like going forward. Like
when
how it's
MassDOT
gonna-
comes here and says to us, how did we get here?
Yeah,
That's not the complete story. It's taken as gospel, number one. Okay? It's not true. Let me talk to you a little bit about decision making, this decision that you're in. Because we're in this quandary and we're concerned that we don't have enough information. We don't seem to know how to get it. Let me make a suggestion.
right.
Okay? Agnostically, independently, as somebody who's trying to make a decision, Mr. Brogna, I'm looking at you because we've had this discussion before about making decisions. In uncertainty, here's what we do. We say, I need a pause. I need to stop for a minute. I hear you on this side, you're pressuring me, and I'm not going to take the pressure. On the other side, we have this, we don't have enough information over here. Guess what I need? I need time. Oh, what we hear now is, well, we don't have time because we have to make a decision. I'm not concerned about you making a decision. I'm concerned about me and us and you collaboratively, wisely making that decision. Somebody pressures me like that, I get real unhappy with them, as I think you do. Here's what we're going to do. We need 6 months. Oh, we don't have 6 months. Guess what? Go find it. Go find the 6 months. But this will happen and that will happen. Not my problem. You have come to us with some option, but it has to be done here. I don't take it because you don't have enough information. How are we going to get it? I don't know. It's complicated. It's complicated and it's expensive and it takes time. I can't. We want to compare. I've seen some of these numbers about long-term maintenance. What's it going to cost to build and what's it going to cost to maintain? We want to be able to compare. I heard someone else talk about comparing apples to apples. We want to compare equal things so that we can go to people in the town, we can say, here's the real cost. This is what you're looking at. This is how you understand this. Yes, you're trying to explain an extraordinarily complicated thing that involves politics, finance, and technical stuff all at the same time.
Environmental and economic impacts.
Environmental,
Yep.
we can,
have a lot of
faith,
concerns.
I don't know. We can add all these things and lump them in there together. Yes, it's complicated. Absolutely. We'll throw biotechnical in there as well as geotechnical. That takes time, may take money, may take effort on our part to say, okay, how are we going to get this information that you need? Okay? I said to Marco, you heard me at the meeting. You guys have had 5 years and $5 million to do this. Okay? Option B, we'll take the next 6 months and $1 million to go figure it out. Well, we don't have $1 million. Okay. Well, we're going to have to get creative. One of the ways to get creative is to take the pressure off of us from someone who wants a decision. Can't do it. Not going to happen. I understand, believe me, I understand what the consequences are, because I hear the noise. Oh, the money's going to go away. Oh my God, the money's going to go away. Could be. Still not my problem. It's not our problem, and it's not your problem to solve. I'm really in support of you from that perspective alone, from the decision making, because their problems are not your problems. They're making them our problem. They're making them your problems. You have to be concerned about us losing our funding. No. We have to be concerned about our heritage and what's important to us as a town and as a community. Okay? After that stuff, we'll figure the rest of it out. You want to be collaborative, let's be collaborative. Let's get wise, right? Let's get our hands dirty and figure out how we're going to do this. Yes, we have a pause. We need more than 75 days. Because otherwise, people are just going to go, well, you know, Frank, we can't do this, and we can't do this, and we can't figure that out. Oop, 75 days is up. Guess we got to make a decision. Didn't have enough information. Got to have MassDOT do their thing. Sorry. That's not good enough. You know it's not good enough. Okay.
Thank you, Frank.
I sent a couple of photos around earlier prior to the meeting. I just wanted you to see those.
These ones?
Yes. One of them is an expansion joint, typically run every 100 lineal feet on a project for expansion and contraction. You see the road expansion joint? They're typically every 100 feet, and in between there was called control joints. Right now, if I'm not mistaken, I think most companies from the bids, I've seen about $500 a lineal foot to repair one of them. You got to take them out and put them back. That project there, I think those are about 10 years old. There's another project there. If you have precast concrete post-tension cables go inside, if you can notice those precast piers, salt water has gotten through hairline cracks and attacked the steel, reducing the structural integrity of the post-tension cable.
Where was that?
They're in the States. I work
sorry?
all over the country. Different states. Also,
Are any of these
I'm not going to tell you the locations because they're all saltwater locations.
But are any of these in Massachusetts?
Yes.
Are any of them Mass DOT projects?
Not, I would think yes. One of them is yeah.
Well, how about the third shot where you've got the
No,
cross pieces?
that's
not
another
Massachusetts.
project I'm doing. What I'm trying to get at is steel, concrete. See, steel, you have electrolysis that takes place, just like in your boats and everything else that takes place. Hairline cracks in concrete, salt water gets in it, it erodes the reinforcement bars. Post-tension cables, it reduces the strengths. If you take wood, as we all know from the mud line down, it's perfect. I did a project in South Boston, this 1896. Those piers look perfect. The Grain Exchange building in Boston, all the wood piles below grade are perfect. They gain strength. When I do studies in that, I pass around a box of toothpicks to everybody in the conference room. I say, break the toothpick. They snap and break them. I take the same box of toothpicks that have been soaking in water for a week. I pass them around. I said, everybody break your toothpick. They're like this, I can't break it. You cannot break it because it gains strength. All I'm trying to say is all we have to do is periodically repair this bridge as we need it. Dr. Tingley said he can do it 12 months a year and not disturb any traffic above, and believe me, it's going to last a long time.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dalton. Anyone else this evening? Okay, well, I think this has been a good conversation, as you all.
One little party shot, I'll take 2 seconds.
Get 2 seconds. Can you go up to the podium?
This is what I tell people when I talk to them about this, that it's probably going to take 10 years to do this. There's no question in my mind that's how long it's going to take. So I tell people, you have a kindergartner in school, they're never going to pass over that bay again until they're out of high school. And us, we'll be taking a dirt nap by the time that thing is done. So anyway, we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Well, can I just say one thing?
You have to go to the podium, miss.
I just want to say that you've made a couple of points that you're at a critical point in this whole decision process, and you don't even know how you got here.
What?
And when
We didn't say that. Now, can I have your name and address for the record,
Kelly
please?
Monaghan, Duxbury, 64 Birch Street,
Thank
you did say that you're at a critical point in where this is going to go, where you can't turn back.
Well,
We're not. We didn't say
we
that.
didn't
No.
say that.
We
We
didn't
said
say
that
that.
there was a
Approaching it.
concern of that, and we're going
We
to
don't
make
know.
sure that that doesn't happen.
Right, well,
Correct.
just the fact that you don't even know is concerning to me.
Well,
They do know. They just told you.
We just said that we raised it as a concern, and we are on it, and we are going to make sure that we do not find ourselves in that predicament.
So is there a business plan for all that to be presented to the town? Because this is a really big decision. And, it's not even appropriate that it's in the hands of just you four or, whoever else is on the board. Because it's not just also about the money. The money is, maybe it's like cheaper to let the state pay for it now, but we all see the data that long-term, it's a big financial impact that the town really can't support, And then on top of that, we've seen the other data from Quigley, or I think that's his name, where it's very affordable to just maintain this bridge as is. And in fact, some of the information we've gotten has been erroneous, and it's not even true. And that our bridge is in a very good state. And so, really, it makes sense financially and emotionally for your town. And historically, once we get that designation back, which I'm pretty confident we will, which will then future our grant application opportunities. So it seems like a really easy, streamlined process to just get in a position with the state where we're not gonna, end up screwing ourselves and being too far into this.
That is our goal.
But you
For
have to
sure.
have a plan for that goal to happen. It's not just a wish list. So, one of the best things you did mention, and I love the idea, start working with the committee. But also the town needs to really understand the full implication. And I know you don't have that data yet, and it's on purpose. The state's not giving you that data because they know it's better to hold it back. Because everybody's going into this blindly in this town, people who haven't gotten the full picture. And also, keep in mind, there's a lot of transients in this town. So if you just say, raise your hand, does anybody want to just have a free bridge? A lot of people are going to say yes. Those are probably people that haven't been here more than 4 or 5 years. But the people like me that have grown up here and driven across that bridge on my bicycle, before I got my license, after I got my license, and today, this means something to us. This is why we live in this town. It's all of this. And, I'm sorry, but even some of you on the board haven't been here that long. So I get it. You don't have much of a passion for what we're talking about. But
No, I don't think that that's fair. I
it's
think-
something you have to consider. You're here representing us.
So remember, that is our role. We represent the residents of the town. So
Well,
we-
there's
it
been
is
a lot
our
of
job-
mistakes.
It is our job to make sure that I'm sorry that you feel that way.
I'm really
But
sorry
I
that you
really
feel
We're
that
in a
way.
feel that we're
position right
doing
now
our-
where we're all scrambling to try and figure something out that is so important to the residents of
And
this
we are
town.
scrambling as well. We're not scrambling.
Nobody's
We have a plan.
We have a plan,
We
yeah.
are going to make sure that we're not in a position of no return.
Yep.
And we are trying to find ways to provide all of the information
Yep.
necessary to make the best just informed decision. And
Yep.
that is what we're doing. And
And we sent this letter off on July 7th, got responded to last week.
Yep.
And there was a public meeting about it, which has prompted some of the concerns that I had tonight and that Brian had tonight and that Amy had at the meeting on Wednesday.
Yeah.
This is ongoing. We're going to meet on the 31st, it sounds like, with Powder Point Advisory Board. And we'll just keep going here.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
mean, I
plan.
think it's good to get these meetings on the board, on the table. I think it's good to make sure that Mass DOT is not, steamrolling forward because they have their own agenda, and it's not the agenda of the residents of Duxbury, I'm sure.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else this evening? Hearing nothing, we're going to move along, and we'll see you all
On the 31st.
for
Is there another meeting in between? Sorry.
anything to do with the, do we have a meeting in 2 weeks, right?
Two
And we
weeks,
have
yeah.
one the 31st.
Might come to that.
Well, come
Well,
along.
good.
Yeah,
We like
no, no.
seeing you out there,
There's
Sue.
always something good on the
Always,
agenda.
there's always something good to talk about.
And I do have to thank you for pivoting. I seriously do, because for so long, we've been only looking in one direction. And I really, truly appreciate the fact that you're being so thoughtful about this and you're pivoting. It's so important. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really.
All right, next item on the agenda is the town manager's report.
There you go. Okay, it's a bit lengthy, so I printed copies for you.
Yes.
Wow.
That way, if you have questions, just jot them down and we'll wrap it up at the back end of it.
I
So-
could give you a copy, Brian, but I can't.
I already emailed it to him. So,
Oh, he emailed it to me and it answers some of the questions I had asked him in
Okay.
advance of the
Yep.
meeting.
There you go.
in fact, I have a few extras if anybody wants one. You're welcome. So the first part is the Washington Street sidewalk update, ADA ramps. The Washington Street sidewalk contractor, MPR, is scheduled to be on site tomorrow to replace 3 concrete sidewalk ramps. During the final inspection for the project, it was observed that 3 ramps did not adhere to the acceptable ADA tolerances. Although the discrepancies were minor, we were not able to accept the final product since the 3 ramps technically did not meet ADA standards. Per the contractor, the work will take less than a full day, assuming they are successful in completing the project. While the need for this work is not preferred, it is not unheard of, even with new construction. Up next, the Temple Street Dam removal update. The Temple Street Dam removal project, which is part of a larger state dam removal program, was identified by the Mass Division of Ecological Restoration as a candidate for removal to restore the river's natural hydrology, improve fish passage, and reduce long-term maintenance requirements for the DPW. The project has been more than 10 years in the making and has included multiple public hearings, site visits, and information sessions. The dam is expected to be removed, and construction of all 3 pool and riffle systems are anticipated to be completed by the end of this month. Additional site restoration work, including landscaping, will continue through late summer and into early fall. The project is being completed in partnership with the North and South River Watershed Association, and additional information can be found on the Conservation Department's webpage. Update on the water ban. Since the townwide water ban went into effect on June 9th, the Water Department staff have delivered 151 warning notices to customers, either by hand or by mail, to those property owners observed violating the ban. The staff are continuing to monitor for additional violations, and fines will be issued as needed. To date, the town has not issued any fines for water ban violations. Just for the sake of clarity, persons found in violation of the watering ban shall be fined $50 for the first offense and $100 per day for each additional offense. If you get one, this is what the naughty letter looks like, in case you want to see it. DPW building update. The project is on track and within budget. We are closely monitoring expenses to ensure we have sufficient contingency funds for unforeseen expenses that arise after the move. We should have a better idea of the project schedule after tomorrow's weekly meeting. but at present, the DPW expects to begin to move into the building in September. We anticipate that it will be early October by the time staff, offices, and equipment are all moved in and working out of the building. If any of the select board members would like a tour of the building, please let me know, and we can talk. I will talk with Sheila to make arrangements to take you through, and we'll be able to provide you with the required vests and hard hats if you want to go.
Yeah, I'd like to, Rain, can I just maybe ask the question?
Let me get through this. Just jot it down if you don't mind, and then we'll.
Okay,
Just
all
so I'll
right.
run through this list.
All right.
Please, thank you.
Yep, sure.
Miramar update for anybody that's interested in Miramar. Last week, I provided the board and several town staff members with an update on what we know about the Miramar project to date. And with that, I wanted to provide the public with that same update as well and let everybody know what we're doing. And the email reads as follows. Good afternoon. Some of you have reached out with questions related to the Miramar property, and as such, this is what I have learned over the past few days. Portions of this information is more historical in nature to help bring people up to speed. In January of this year, the Society of the Divine Word sold the Miramar property to Miramar Estates, LLC, 1165 Washington Street, Hanover, Massachusetts, for $8,750,000. That is the address of the office of Attorney Stephen M. Gard, Esquire, who is the LLC manager. On February 17, 2026, Mark Casey of South Shore Survey Consultants and Duxbury resident Ben Verga appeared before the Kingston Sewer Commission to discuss a proposed development in Duxbury at the Miramar property that would utilize a connection to Kingston's wastewater treatment facility. The meeting can be viewed here, and there's a link. Kingston Wastewater Treatment Facility was recently expanded in a $16.5 million expansion project to increase their current capacity of 375,000 gallons per day to approximately 700,000 gallons per day. The project also included construction of a gravity sewer and force main totaling 2,000 feet in length, along with an associated pumping station in the area of Marion Drive in Kingston. On June 1st, the Kingston Sewer Commission held a joint meeting with Miramar representatives and legal counsel to review, discuss, and vote on the current agreement related to the Miramar property. Again, I give you a link to the meeting in that note. Following that meeting, the attached document entitled Kingston Signed Sewer Connection and Billing Agreement was signed. Under Exhibit A, project description of the agreement, the following is stated. The owner at this time is proceeding under Mass General Law 40B to develop the premises as Duxbury's Assessor's Parcel 472-001 on map 063, known as and numbered 121 Park Street, Duxbury, Massachusetts, as a residential development of detached single-family homes with as many as 400 bedrooms in total, along with related and necessary ground improvements and infrastructure to serve such homes. I recently spoke with Attorney Gard to set up a pre-submittal meeting amongst our development review team staff, and he explained to me that the developers of the properties are still preparing and working on the information and plans for this project, and they anticipate meeting with Duxbury staff at the time of submitting their project eligibility letter toward the end of August. Please feel free to share this information as you see fit. That's all I have at the moment, but if you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll try my best to answer them. So at this point, we still do not know enough about the project at this site, as we don't have any definitive information yet. There are many possibilities in terms of what may be filed and speculative ideas, but nothing has been formally presented for the town's consideration. Since neither a project eligibility letter nor formal notice to the town of the development have been presented, a lengthier board discussion may be premature now, and that's why it's under my manager's report. However, there will be a time when that necessary conversation will occur. More immediately, in the days ahead, I'll be working with Amy as the Select Board Chair to put together a team of professionals to help be prepared to consider the Miramar project before and after an application is submitted. Before and after an application is submitted. And finally, an update on the town website. I've been discussing the website update with IT Director Mike Woodford, and we were not overly excited with the layout and configuration of this most recent iteration. That update was free, and in this case, it was clear that we got what we paid for. As you will recall, in June of 2026, the board set in place a series of goals for the year ahead, which included an overhaul of town communications to improve and facilitate resident engagement through enhanced communication channels, and to also improve municipal website navigation and resident access to information by significantly upgrading the town's website to improve accessibility, transparency, and public communication. These goals have provided an opportunity to make vast improvements, and to help achieve these goals, the town is seeking to engage the services of a consultant to evaluate and provide communication strategies and services, assist with public outreach opportunities, website creation, develop a social media and public engagement plan, and the training of town staff. We looked at how several other communities have approached this situation, and while some communities have in-house services, usually a half person to 1.5 staff members, the idea of hiring a person to perform these tasks as opposed to seeking the services of an outside vendor didn't make the most sense. With a third-party vendor, the breadth and depth of the service is much larger, provides necessary redundancy rather than one person doing it all. We get a whole team with a variety of areas of expertise, similar to our legal team. The idea is to have a managed service provider with a team to assist with emergency responses such as the 2 a.m. outage, crisis management, weather situations, etc., and allow someone to start working on a problem right away. An outside vendor can also provide the necessary training components to make sure all town staff know their roles and understand how these processes work, and can make changes as needed rather than one person or town employee trying to do it all. And with that, we are issuing a request for quotes this week. So, anybody has any questions?
How are we
please.
going to fund that?
I got to check with Mary. She'll text me in just a minute with that answer, and I'll tell you.
Well, a request for quotes doesn't cost anything.
No.
No, the request for quotes, we're going to figure out what the
Interesting how
cost
we're gonna
is.
try to
Yeah.
fund it.
Yeah. I have the answer, I just don't have it with me.
Did you have a question? No,
Fernando did.
Fernando did.
Actually,
Somebody-
Mr. Brogner kindly copied me on an email. Maybe I'll give you either, if you stick around at the end, I'll chat with you. If not, I'll give you a call and follow up on that email. It's regards to the DPW building. Thank you.
Everybody's so polite tonight.
I would like
Isn't
to
it
tour the
wonderful?
building.
I would,
okay,
I
cool.
would too. I was hoping maybe the whole board could. No?
You can,
Yeah, we're just not deliberating.
yeah.
Yeah, we can visit without as long as we don't
Some
discuss
nights-
Go
it.
down there, well, you can do it on the
A
night,
little
you can do it
earlier.
any day you want, on a
Right.
Friday, whatever you want, whatever's convenient for you.
We'll
I know sometimes
coordinate
I see
something
you-
and throw it out,
walk the dog.
for, Ashley can.
I won't
try
bring the
to
dog
figure
in.
out
Yeah,
a
you can bring the
date.
dog.
I think we all would like to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, prior to the ribbon cutting later this fall, or.
Brian, did you have any questions about the town manager's report?
Nope, Rainey covered it all, thank you.
Okay, I have questions about the Washington Street ADA ramps.
Yes.
We're not paying for those, right? The
No.
contractor's redoing them, no
Correct.
charge.
Yes.
The Kingston, the Miramar.
Uh-huh.
So Kingston expanded their wastewater treatment facility to allow for an additional $16.5 million.
That's what it
No,
costs to
for
basically
300.
double the capacity,
They doubled the capacity.
roughly. Mhm.
I imagine that Kingston residents voted to increase their capacity for Kingston residents. So I'm very frustrated with that whole situation, and I think that
Yeah.
I think stay tuned for Miramar.
To that point, what was Kingston, do we know what Kingston was compensated for? How much they were given by the developer?
I read 3 million something, I thought. Wasn't
For
there?
that water part, it might be in the.
For wastewater, for sewer capacity.
That's why I'm sorry, and I apologize.
Somebody said 5
I
million.
don't like getting my information from the internet. So I was just wondering if you had received verified information about what they were compensated for.
I don't know, but I could probably find out.
That should be part, and you probably could watch, I would imagine
It
that was
might
part
be
of
in
their
there,
meeting.
in one of the links that I sent you. But you want to know,
How much was the bag of money?
And I will say that Rainey and I have had quite a few conversations, and we will work on getting a team together now so that we can hit the ground running, because this is going to be very impactful and an important issue to be engaged in. That was all I had.
That's all. It's not on the agenda, so I'm not going
Fernando,
to.
did you have something?
No, I had ex parte conversation with
Okay,
Mr. Brogner.
very good.
I think you have a member of the public, but I don't
Oh,
know if it's to the
Is
town
it
manager's report.
okay to ask a question? Or-
yes.
Sure.
Oh, I'm sorry, Alicia, I was looking on the screen. I didn't even see. It's getting past my, bewitching hour.
Alicia Babcock, Ocean Road South. I have to be honest, I am really upset about this Miramar issue and very frustrated. I feel as though this account of where we are is not complete because I came before this board many times. I went to one of the very early MBTA community committee meetings. I mentioned Miramar. I came here. Everybody looked at me like I was crazy. I came, I think, one day with a big bag, I think you remember, of packets for everybody. I tried to get the town to work with a potential developer to try to marry it up with MBTA so that we wouldn't get saturated with additional housing. That didn't work. I came and I begged to try to get somebody to even call the listing agent. The Society of the Divine was baffled by why nobody from the town called them. The realtor was baffled why nobody called. They were desperate to make a deal with Duxbury. They've been here in this town forever. They were very concerned about the legacy that they were leaving behind. They wanted to work some sort of deal with Duxbury. It's extremely frustrating to me that this is where we're at right now because I feel like I was really waving a flag, and I tried to get in front of this, and it's very, very upsetting. So this could have been a lot of things. There's a lot of older people in this town. One of the suggestions was to have CPC or the town find a way to buy this property, and it would have been beautiful land for the town to be able to pick their own developer and make 55 and over housing for the older population that actually wants to stay here. Beautiful land with trails and an ocean view. It could have been a lot of things, and now we've lost complete control over it. And we're going to get more housing and more strain on our infrastructure. And I just find it really, really upsetting. Thank you.
I guess we just didn't have the $8.7 million.
Hi, Maureen Caruso. I'm the 5th generation in this town. I used to walk to Miramar to attend Mass as a kid, and I grew up going to dances there. And the idea that the town didn't step in and intervene, and now another historic vista, another beautiful building. In fact, the Montessori school where my grandchildren attend is going to become a runway of traffic. It's already a difficult road at that time of year when the children are coming and going. But they're talking about ravaging the land directly across from the Montessori to build houses there. How much more devastation can the town take? How many more insults do we have to incur before we say enough? Because that's too much.
Well, the chapter 40B is.
It's not on the, yeah, we can't.
Okay. Liquor license. That's all right. I'm just
I know.
frustrated.
Yeah.
We have a wine and malt liquor license for the summer beer garden at Long Point Marine, which sounds very fun. Do we have anybody here to speak?
Yeah, we got a letter from Attorney Galvin,
Yeah.
a neighbor. And I must admit, I see reason for the letter and the concern. So this is a residential compatibility district, right, that has a non-conforming use, which is the marina or the Long Point Marine. And so what they're planning to do is actually for it's a public event, so anybody can turn up to it. So they're having beer, wine, there's music, and there's food, right? There was another person in town in the residential compatibility district tried to do the same thing, and we objected to that.
Correct.
Did we receive a letter in our packet,
Yes,
Fernando?
we
I'm
did.
sorry.
They actually sent it out.
I only got it like 2 hours
Yeah.
before the meeting, so
Oh,
I
so
sent
it's-
it in a
There's
separate-
email.
I didn't see
I have
it.
an extra one.
That would be great.
It'd be great.
And so this is a letter from an abutter who's
But it's
raising some concern.
concerned
Okay.
because, and I get it, it's in a way, remember with the issue we had with a certain, yeah, you know what I'm
Yep.
talking about, don't you? And we denied it because it was a public event, making money in a residential compatibility district.
But we've allowed some of these, for instance, the one at the ski shop next to Bennett's in that area. They have some food trucks yearly, and I think have some beer.
But is that a neighborhood business district, or is
Well,
that
there
an
are some
RC?
houses
I
in
don't know
there.
what the district
We
is.
pretty much everywhere is neighborhood business
Yeah.
district.
No,
You have
Long Point Marine
residential.
is RC.
Okay, it's RC, it's not
RC.
in a business.
No,
It's not
it's
in a
RC.
neighborhood. Okay.
According to the letter received from Attorney Galvin, it's RC. It's not NB.
Is anybody here from this? Let's start with that. Is there a proponent of this event? Maybe we can find out what's going on here.
Yeah.
Hi, sir.
Hello, I'm John Marston. I'm from Washington Street, and we recently bought Long Point Marine, so I own Long Point Marine.
You recently bought it.
What's that?
You recently bought
Yeah,
it from me.
yeah,
Okay,
in March.
nice.
So I guess the other side of the story here is that what we had thought to do was to have a kind of a public gathering. Yes, we teamed with the 42nd Brewery through Jason Ward, who's doing some, Jason Ward is Siren Lures, so there's a fishing theme to it. We're getting together, and the idea was that they were going to handle the permitting, because I had no idea how to do that. We invited all of our customers, or in the process of inviting our customers, for basically a community awareness. Hey, just, welcome the new team. And we've got two, sorry, I could use some water.
That's all right.
Sorry, and we've got two retirements from the previous owners. So it's kind of a welcome the new team, come check out the place. Not a lot of people know we're there. And we are buying pizza for everybody, and the only reason we're selling beer is we thought it was inappropriate to give beer away. So that's,
Well, it depends on the audience.
make everybody happy about that. And then the other idea is that, the band is a two-person, singer, guitar player kind of thing. And it's 12 to 4. I think the permit's 12 to 6, but it's the event's 12 to 4. So the attachment that you see in there is the one that's a little more generic, that went out on the 42nd Brewery, and then we call it a summer gathering, for whatever it's worth, and said, celebrate Steve and Rich, their retirement, say hello, that kind of thing. So that's where we are.
So it's a one-off event, that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. I mean,
Introduction to your,
new management.
the new business owners and retirement of the old, right?
That's it.
One-off event.
And how many people are you expecting?
I hope not more than 100.
It does, the fire department did say if there's more than 100, you're going to need an extra, I think it's something more than that.
Yeah, and so,
Somebody's got their hand up named Darby.
yeah.
I think right there.
Something it always feels kind of, in a way, I think Mr. Frank there was commenting about our hands being forced, right? So you come for a permit and you already advertised this, you already got it going and everything else like that. So maybe just a general notice to anybody who wants to host an event, please don't advertise it, the event. Come to get permission from the select board, get an event permit, and then go out to the to your audience and invite people. So that's not to you, because I haven't done before, but this is to the world outside who wants to host an event. So appreciate that in the future. Make our lives a lot easier.
Darby, did you have a question?
Nope, this is Steve Darby. I'm just representing 42nd Brookville, and I just wanted to let everyone know I was at the...
Okay, thank you. Additional questions? Brian, question?
No questions. I understand in response to Fernando's question that this is a one-off 4-hour event. I understand the concerns of the neighbor. Has the applicant seen the neighbor, Mr. Galvin's letter, and do you have any response to that?
I guess, I'm not sure if Steve's the applicant or I am, but I could speak for us both.
Sure.
We saw it, we read it a few hours ago, and, I mean, I could understand which I am a neighbor as well. I can understand the concern, but this won't be a weekly event here. We're not, setting up another Allen Creek or anything like that here.
You'd have to change from an RC to an MV to be able to do that. So, yeah. Okay. But basically, what I've heard is one-time event. You're basically saying,
12
hey,
to 4.
12 to 4. Hey, I'm here, the new owner, and welcome and retirement. So I'm okay with that on that basis.
Mike, anything?
What's the date? I want to go.
August 15th.
Thank you.
See you there. And maybe invite your neighbor as well and give him a free beer. How about
There
that?
you go.
See that? There you go.
Anything, Mike? You good?
No questions.
All right. Brian's good. Fernando, I'll take a motion.
Oh, he's the clerk.
I am the clerk. Thank you for remembering. Do we have a motion?
We should do, right?
Oh, here you go, dude.
Thank you. I move that Mr. Paul Scheel, as a representative of 42nd Brew Company, be granted a one-day wine and malt license for their summer beer garden by the water event on August 15, 2026, from 12 to 6, located at Long Point Marine Beer Garden, 553 Washington Street, Duxbury, contingent upon the conditions of the license.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Discussion,
Brian?
discussion point, the
Yeah.
hours. I thought I just heard 12 to 6. It wasn't a 12 to 4.
It is 12 to 6, but the applicant said that he thought the event would actually go 12 to 4. Is that correct?
You want to change it? You okay to saying 12 to 4?
It is 12 to 4, yeah. So all the advertisements the permit said 12 to 6 because we didn't know whether it was going to be 2 to 6 or 12 to 4, but we've opted 12 to 4.
Well, can we
I'll
modify the...
amended to 12 to 4 p.m.
Okay. Can I get a second for the,
a second for the amendment?
Yes, second?
Yeah,
As
second.
Okay,
yes,
all right.
second as amended.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Brian, start.
Brian, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Amy, aye.
Michael, aye.
Okay. Next, we have a wine and malt event permit for David Murphy for September 18th, artist reception at Helen Bumpus Gallery. Do we have anybody to speak to that?
I don't think so. This is an annual thing.
Okay. So does the board have any questions about that?
No, I have no questions.
I don't either. So I could just take a motion.
All right. I can find it. Here we go.
Yeah, do you want me to do it? I can do
Yeah,
it.
why don't you do it if you got it in
Yeah,
front
I
of you?
move that Mr. David Murphy be granted a one-day wine and malt license for their artist reception on September 18, 2026, from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., located at the Helen Bumpus Gallery, 77 Alden Street, contingent upon the conditions of the license.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Brian?
Brian, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Amy, aye.
Michael, aye.
Okay. And finally, we have a wine and malt event permit for Mr. Paul Brogna, who is here this evening for September 21, 2026. This is a golf fundraising event at the Council on Aging.
I thought it was the center.
Good evening, Madam Chair. For the record, Paul Brogna, 90 Humphreys Lane, and I am the president of the Friends of the Council on Aging.
and this will be our 25th consecutive major fundraiser for the Senior Center, or now called the Center. And so far, we have sold a lot of ads and a lot of sponsors, and as we have done the last 24 years, is we have a social at the end of the golf at the Yacht Club Golf Course, and it's from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. We have heavy hors d'oeuvres and desserts, and it's well controlled by the Senior Center staff and members of the Council on Aging, so we would respectfully appreciate your support of this again, and hopefully we'll be back again next year for the next one. Thank you.
Thank you. No
Any
questions.
questions? None. Brian?
Yeah, I do, before Paul sits down. Paul, I know that you and your colleagues on the Friends shy away from the spotlight, but I'd like you to provide the Select Board with just some high-level metrics as to the impact that this program provides for the center. I've seen the budgets of the center. I'm pleased to be this board's liaison. And I don't think enough folks really appreciate how effective the Friends are at raising significant sums of money to supplement the budget of the Council on Aging and the much needed, much appreciated programs that are provided there. So I not to put you on the spotlight, but I think unless we force you to do it, you wouldn't do it otherwise. But maybe just give us a little bit of info, because I think we owe you a great debt of appreciation.
Over the last 8 to 10 years, we have 3 fundraisers that are what we consider major. We have the annual golf, third Monday in September. We have the half marathon 2 weeks before the Boston Marathon, and then we have the annual appeal that goes out to all the members of the council, and I'll just say most elderly people in town and a number of middle-aged people. And amongst the 3 major fundraisers, we have raised over $125,000, $130,000 annually, and all of that goes back into the town for the Council on Aging, for the staffing, and for the services and programs that Joanne Moore and her outstanding staff kind of take care of for residents of the town, and I'll say the neighboring towns as well. So it's a fun program. We, get into the trenches and kind of ask people to sponsor and kind of put our hands out and everything, but in most cases it works. So
And I know
it's
your
fun.
golf game,
Thank you.
you're definitely in the trenches when you get out there.
Yeah, definitely in the trenches, correct.
Oh, that was wicked.
Wait till the next one.
Thank you, Paul.
Wow. I didn't realize you're going to get abused coming up and talking about it.
All right.
Thank you, Paul.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, I'll start with you, Brian.
Oh, wait, motion.
Brian,
Oh, I need wait a minute,
motion.
sorry, I forgot the no, that was,
No,
wasn't
I
that under
gotta,
discussion?
I have to make a
No.
motion.
All
I
right.
move that Mr. Paul Brockman
Lost
be
my
granted
job.
a one-day wine and malt license for the golf fundraiser September 21st, 2026, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. located at the Council on Aging, 10 Mayflower Street, contingent upon the conditions of the license.
I'll second that and vote aye.
Thank
Fernando,
you.
aye.
Amy, aye.
Michael, I.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
We
you,
have
Paul.
Thank
you,
you.
Paul.
We have some events, and we do have some,
Yeah, let me,
usually the
Quick
events.
update for you, if I can just
Sure.
jump back in,
Yeah.
sorry. I had an update. Miramar will be discussed at the town of Kingston tomorrow by their sewer commission at 4:30. People want to attend, it's available online. If you Google Kingston Sewer Commission, you'll find the agenda. But the contract is being discussed, the Miramar contract.
Okay, I had so many jokes to say there, and I'm not going to say a single one. Sorry. Okay, so that's good. Good to know. So if anybody who was interested in the sewer aspect of this can tune in to Kingston's meeting. We have an event for the Holy Family Beach Mass and Barbecue on August 13th, 2026 at Duxbury Beach. Do we have anybody to speak to that? Mr. Brock?
Actually,
September 13th.
Oh, okay.
For the record, Paul Brockner, 90 Humphreys Lane,
Back again.
also a member of the Finance Committee at Holy Family Parish. Okay. I talked to Miss Kenny a while ago, and the actual date of the Beach Mass and Barbecue is September 13th, the second Sunday, as it is every year. So on behalf of Father Bob Dean, our pastor, and Jeannie Cregan, our pastoral assistant, we respectfully request approval of this, and hopefully we get there via the bridge. We hope next year, when we're back for 2027, we can also use the same bridge. Thank you.
Is there any questions on this event? Hearing none, I will take a motion.
I move that Miss Jean Cregan, as a representative of the Holy Family Parish, be granted permission to utilize Duxbury Beach parking lot for their event as described in the application on Sunday, September 13th, 2026, from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., contingent upon the conditions of the permit.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Second.
Gotta be quick.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? Brian?
Brian, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Amy, aye.
Michael, aye.
Okay. We have some committee appointments, reappointments, and resignations.
Right.
You're Mr. Clerk. You took my spot.
Yes. I move that the Duxbury Selectboard appoint the following committee members to the DEI Steering Committee. Kayla Doyle, Planning Board member with a term ending 30th of June 2027. Denise Garvin, Library representative, term ending on the 30th of June 2027. And Steve Studley, Recreation representative, term ending on 2027, June 30th. I also move that the Duxbury Select Board reappoint the following members to the D&I Steering Committee. Jeannie Horn, all to the same date, 30th of June 2027. Jeannie Horn, Joanne Moore, Fred Weiler, Caitlin Sheehan, Karen Wong, Mark Prince, and Martha Dennison.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Brian?
Brian, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Amy, aye.
And the following boards and committees have available seats. There is one seat available on the Fiscal Advisory Committee and also on the Open Space Committee. There is an alternative seat available, one in the Design Review Board, and there's also one seat on the School Committee. My mistake there. Registrar of Voters, there's one Republican representative. On the Council on Aging Board, there's 2 seats, one alternate. And on the Sidewalk and Bike Path Committee, there are 4 seats available. If you're interested, please go ahead and in volunteering on the Board of Committee, you're encouraged to fill out a talent bank form, which can be found on the town's website under the Forms and Documents tab.
Thank you. We have some minutes. We have open session minutes of July 20th. Were there any changes? Everybody's good with those?
Yeah. I move that we approve said minutes.
I get a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Brian?
Brian, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Amy, aye.
Michael, aye.
Okay.
Right, and announcement. The next scheduled Select Board meeting will be on Monday, August 17th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. And there's no bonus shellfish season.
Okay. All right, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Brian?
Brian, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Amy, aye.
Michael, aye.
Thank you.